Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winter.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Friday, everybody.
Oh, happy day.
Yes, happy Friday, everybody. And got a little rain.
Yeah.
Last night had
got a nice dousing.
Yeah. Yesterday, last night.
I was doing the very irresponsible thing of driving around with my window down.
Yeah.
Down Country Club Sycamore, and I got plastered a few times.
Did you?
In the big puddles when a truck would go by, and I'd see the wave. I'm like, I have the windows that you do this to get them up. I'm not getting up in time. I'm just going to embrace it.
Just smile.
Yeah. It's the coolest I've been all week. I'm not going to lie.
It's like hanging out at like Six Flags there by the Diamond Falls or whatever.
I was the guy standing on the bridge like an idiot. You know?
Yeah. But a happy Friday. Actually, it was sprinklings when I came in. I got a late start this morning. So it was a little after 6:30 before I got here. So, but around 6:30, it was a full-on sprinkle.
Really?
Yeah.
I got here a little after 6, and I felt a single drop on my arm, and I looked up, and for a moment I was like, "Is that bird dump? Like, did I just get pooed on?" And then I noticed there's like scaffolding above me. It might have just been like a drip from one of those.
It could have been, but we got a little sprinkle. There actually is a shot at more rain today. Of course, it's still going to be 100 plus next several days. So we ain't out of the woods or
hot,
nothing.
muggy, and sucky.
But it was kind of nice to have a little pre-evening or late afternoon shower there. Kind of nice little change of pace. Because, it was getting cloudy, and I was like, it'll thunder, lightning, and do all that, and then nothing will happen. And I was like, oh, what is this stuff? Which getting my head and face all wet. But happy Friday. Hopefully you are having exciting plans and a big weekend ahead. Got a full slate for you for today's show.
It's going to be a busy one today.
But before we do that, got to thank the fine folks at McDonald's.
Yes, indeed.
Each and every single Friday, they provide us with delicious breakfast treats.
And something that they've had for a while that I never really thought to ask for is they've been spicing things up. They brought back they introduced it's called the spicy quarter pounder with cheese, and it's got this cheese sauce and jalapenos.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure they've always had jalapenos at McDonald's, but I've never thought to ask to put it on a breakfast sandwich.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had a jalapeno item at McDonald's.
Joy scored me a jalapeno McMuffin, so I'm going to try that out.
Nice, very good. Now it's got the cheese.
They said they didn't have the cheese.
It's just the jalapenos with the rest of the Egg McMuffin fare.
But I feel like that really would set it off.
It can't hurt it.
I mean, the problem I've always had with the Egg McMuffin is there's not enough bang to it,
Yeah.
It doesn't pop. It doesn't have that zing, that pop. Other onomatopoeias.
I want to eat it and then someone punch me in the face.
That's right. I need to feel like I've been throat punched at 6:30 in the morning. And also, sad announcement, McDonald's is going to be bringing their McCafe baked goods line to a close.
I saw an article earlier this week that they will be retiring those in the near future, the blueberry muffins and the apple fritters.
But the good news is they almost always do that so they can make room on the menu for something else.
Yeah, well, and they said, about a year ago, they're going to be kind of altering some classics and doing some of that stuff. So we're in the midst of a bit of a rebrand on some of the menu items.
So there was a whole controversy about a month, maybe 2 months ago, around McDonald's starting early next year, I think nationwide, changing the way they do their burgers, the way they cook their burgers. And I'm not going to lie, everybody's saying that they're not okay with it. It sounds awesome. They're going to cook their burgers on a bed of onions, a la White Castle or other places like that. That's okay. If you've ever had a true Oklahoma burger, it's cooked on a bed of onions. That's how they do it. It's onion fried.
Going out on a bed of onions.
My dad was insistent for the last portion of his life, like 6-7 years, that anytime he had a hamburger, that my mom would put diced onions into the burger.
I'm completely in. That's a 10 for me.
That's how I remember having burgers growing up.
I know there's a sect of people like onions are the devil, and I get that. I'm like that with a lot of tomato stuff, so I get you. But I'm in. Sign me up. Yeah, okay, add more deliciousness to that meat, please. I'm in. But till then, use the app.
Yes.
Come by and get your classic favorites. And you know what? Give that jalapeno and cheese quarter pounder a little dance for lunch today.
It looks phenomenal.
Put a little slap your mama on your lunch.
That's right.
But big thank you to McDonald's. Don't forget, download that app, utilize that app. And we missed Friday was yesterday. They were giving away free fries.
Here's the thing. Today's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Why was yesterday National Friday?
You got to talk to Big Fry.
Somebody needs to talk to Big Fry. They need to make sure it's always on a Friday. That's just ridiculous.
Maybe the spam people got Big Spam got in there and started saying, "Hey, Big Fry, we already got the dibs on Friday."
Big Spam.
Just saying, Big Spam may have had their hand played in that one. That's my prediction.
I was somehow signed out of my McDonald's app. I was trying to check my points, and I'm not signed in.
So yeah, I keep using my not my rewards, but the break.
The deals, heck yeah.
I don't even I imagine it's a lot. Let me see here. I will take a gander at my points.
Yeah, let me know, because I'm curious.
Where am I at? Do you want to know? 28,550 points.
Wow, dude, I got the kids this week. Can you transfer me some of those?
I could if I would.
I know. Let me see. I am at, let's see. It's loading. Move thing.
It's my fault because I end up using the deals.
Are so good.
And I never use the points. So.
I'm at 9,538, but I'm a points user on occasion.
Yeah, I would like to. I find a deal and I'm like, oh, I want that more, and then I use that. Mm-hmm. It's no different than like one thing I was like, free fries. I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna get a meal because of the 20%, so it just factors in that the fries work out anyway.
I do the 20%. We go through and order the kids' food and my food, and it saves enough money that my food is free.
Yeah. So pretty much.
Because I eat like a 65-year-old man. I like an old school hamburger and a Coke Zero.
There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I like to, once in a while I go OG. Mm-hmm. I'm just a filet of fish guy, so I've been on this hang. I get almost every time I get a filet of fish because that's my jam.
And here you go. Just since you're doing on that kick, 4,500 points is all it takes for filet.
I know.
It's the best middle of the road sandwich there is. You can get a McChicken for 1,500 or a regular hamburger, which is how I
could build a wall of fish
cheeseburger, I think. Right? You could. Honestly, feed the army with fish fillets.
One order at a time.
That's right. You don't have to wait 15 minutes for this thing to reboot.
You get a fillet of fish, and you get a fillet of fish. But big thank you to McDonald's. Download that app and be a points baller like me.
That's right. I'm surprised they're not hitting you up saying, hey, we're going to take some of those away.
I haven't seen that in a while. I did used to get those messages like, well, you're going to lose.
You broke through. You're like, no. You don't make the points rules around here. I make the points rules around here.
I collect the points.
You know who's got two thumbs in the points? This guy.
And I will disperse them as I see fit.
Just a benevolent points god sitting up on top of Points Mountain.
That's right.
Doling out points.
Yeah, I like you. 100 points.
Here, go get yourself a McChicken.
here's a free fry. Get you an apple pie. But let me give you the rundown.
Yes.
Anyway, swing by any of your McDonald's. I got you covered. Utilize your points and brag if you want. Go in there and say, I'd like to use my 22,000 points to purchase a free Big Mac, please. All right, here's the rundown for today's show. Here in just a few minutes, we're going to have the folks from Victory Outreach join us, give us an update on what's happening there. In the 8 o'clock hour, Sheriff Mike Harrington scheduled to join us, although I'm not going to lie, I shot him a message. Usually the day before I shoot the sheriff a reminder message. And most of the time he'll hit me up with, I'll see you in the morning or something like that.
Right.
I got nothing. So that could mean he's either really busy or he got it and forgot to reply back. But allegedly, he'll be here in the 8 o'clock hour.
You always want to make sure to finish that sentence, though, because you started off with, I shot the sheriff. You want to make sure you finish with a message.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get
people
start looking.
It's like, I didn't know he got shot. But you admitted.
I didn't shoot the deputy, but you still shot the sheriff. That's worse.
That's right. Maybe. Yeah. But anyway.
A felony.
So, Sheriff, if not, we'll replay something. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we will replay our interview. Superintendent of the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, joined us on Wednesday to update us on their last school board meeting and all that. So we'll play that for you in the 9 o'clock hour today.
Yes, indeed.
So, plus, we'll do all of your other features that include the news of the local and national variety, along with your Wall Street business update and Hannity update and all those other updates.
All the updates.
Yeah, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show.
Yes, sir.
All right, it is 7:16. Let us shower you with weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Mostly sunny and the heat continues today. Our afternoon highs between 105 and 108. We do have a slim chance of an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but not much rain with any of those. Cloudy overnight, mid-70s. We're in the low 100s and sunny again on Saturday. Maybe a shower or two on Saturday night and then sunny and about 100 for Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 79 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 56%. Winds are calm at the moment. We do have a heat advisory for today, as we kind of is the norm right now, between noon and 8 p.m. today. There is a 20% chance at some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy with a high of 106 today. Otherwise, south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Mostly clear tonight with an overnight low of 76 degrees. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. For your weekend, sunny and a high of 102 for your Saturday. Winds will be out of the north 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Looking at an overnight low of 73 degrees. Winds will be out of the south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Sunday, once again, much like Saturday, sunny, 102. Winds out of the east 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then looking at next week, keep on keeping on with the scorching temperatures. 107 on Monday, 109 on Tuesday, 109 on Wednesday, and 105 on Thursday of next week. So there is no break in sight from the heat. All right, it is closing in on 19 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's go ahead and take about a 2.5-minute commercial break. Then we'll talk to the folks from Victory Outreach on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
If you recently lost your Medicaid coverage and can't get health insurance from your employer, Be Well NM can help you find health insurance from names you trust for as little as $10 a month. Plus, your first month could be free. Finding health insurance can be confusing, so let the friendly Be Well NM experts help you find the right health insurance for you, your family, and your wallet. Our help is absolutely free. Call Be Well NM today at 1-833-862-3935 or visit BeWellNM.com/stay covered.
We've all been around people that talk a lot, but don't really say anything. Maybe they're trying to impress, or maybe they think they're funny or entertaining. We've also been around people who don't say a lot, but when they do speak, it's worth listening. In the opening of 1 Corinthians 13, there is a discussion on ones who say a lot but don't have love. They're compared to beating on a gong. I can't think of too many things more annoying than beating on a gong. The whole paragraph is all about words and actions that try to bring glory to themselves instead of giving and showing love to others. Those kinds of words and actions aren't just a waste of time and energy, they have the opposite effect of what love is. They push people away instead of bringing them closer. The goal is to bring glory to the person instead of glory to God. True love is shown by putting others first, and in that bringing glory to God and not ourselves. This is a message for our community, our country, and our world, which they desperately need.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
You've heard of a Four Seasons room, but have you heard of a Four Seasons window? Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing and Windows. It might surprise you to learn many windows are built to handle only the cold or only the heat, but not both. In Southeast New Mexico, one or the other doesn't cut it. That's why Trustmark windows are built to handle our Four Seasons climate, the scorching summers, the bone-chilling winters, and everything in between. Special glass coating blocks extreme UV rays, a stout frame prevents warping from the extreme weather changes, and insulated glass is like putting your home in a giant styrofoam cooler in the winter and keeps cold out and warmth in, And in the summer, it keeps heat out and cool in. For our 4 seasons weather, get 4 Seasons Windows. Call today for your no-obligation spring window assessment. 575-755-7663 or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. A group of 12 or more cows is called a flink. If you have only 11 cows, that's called a lot of cow pies. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Victory Outreach, Pastor Pat Laney back with us, and Philip Wood as well. Good morning, gentlemen. How's your Friday treating you today?
It's early, Mike.
It is early.
It is early.
How's y'all been staying cool? I know we've been people just been walking around bursting into flames lately here. I know y'all been staying cool.
Yeah, it's definitely indoor weather.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, hey, let's do our outreach indoors. Indoor outreach, a new thing I just started. But I guess, and I usually do it, but you know what? They hear me talk all the time. Let's before we kind of talk about some upcoming events and things, just give folks a little bit of background about Victory Outreach and just talk about what it's all about.
Yeah, so Victory Outreach, we're an international ministry, and it was started in 1967 by Pastor Sonny Arganzoni, and he had a vision to reach drug addicts and their families. And back in their days, they used to label it the addict church, and this was in the time in the late '60s where it was once believed, once a junkie, always a junkie. There was no ministries of its kind. Now there's plenty of ministries that reached out to addiction now. But Victory Outreach was one of the first.
Well, and if you think about it too, how much do we really know about mental health back then?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was in that time.
We were kind of archaic in the world of the brain.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying we still kind of are. I mean, compared to other areas of science. But really we're back 20, 30 years ago.
And we see it throughout, generations that there's like revivals that take place and different strongholds, broken. And in that particular time, in the late 60s, where what was once thought of when drug addicts, they were hopeless. Then, Teen Challenge with Pastor.
Basically, they were trash. It was not redeemable.
Hopeless.
Yes.
Lost causes.
Yes.
So Pastor Sonny opened up Victory Outreach there in Los Angeles for drug addicts and their families. And it was just a small little church. He was bringing drug addicts into his house. They were living with him and his family. And that started with the first Victory Home, where now, people, now we have a Victory Home right here in Roswell. And that's what it is. It's a home for people getting off of drugs and alcohol. And it's it
really is. It's more. It's just if you're dealing with life's problems, whatever.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're all trying to fill that void, and that's what we're really figured out about addiction and drug abuse is really. It's no one says I want to be an addict and strung out on things. They want the feeling. They want to just feel good about themselves and feel good about life. And so in their heads, when they hit the alcohol or hit their drug of choice. They get that euphoric moment, and that's what they're trying to achieve. And so their life turns from,
and we all know where that leads.
Exactly.
That temporary moment of pleasure, it leads to losing everything. Losing everything. And
absolutely.
So here we are now, Victory Outreach, over 700 churches all over the world.
Thousands of success stories maybe even millions. Who knows?
It's amazing to see how far God has brought us, and now brought us right here to Roswell.
Well, and the success is because you're filling the void that addicts are trying to fill themselves. That's at the end of the day. That's what addiction is you're trying to fill that. You're trying to fill a hole in your heart, and when you go to say a traditional rehab program. They may get you off the physical addictions and get you off of, that side of things. But what happens after that? What happens, and that's where Victory Outreach and any faith-based really program like this, I think it just works better because you're actually giving purpose and giving life and filling that void and just saying, all right, can't put alcohol and drugs in that void anymore. Good luck to you. They're saying no. We're going to put it in with what should be their God.
And we know Jesus is the answer. But you talked about other rehabs or even secular rehabs or faith-based rehabs. One of the core values in Victory Outreach is the value of community. So we're not just like go to rehab and then what?
Right.
No, and you're part of the family.
Sure.
We're a church family. We're a family in the ministry. So it fulfills that sense of belonging also.
Sure.
So they don't have to go back to their old
which is another
ways.
another high reason why people tend to fall off the wagon, so to speak, is because they go back to the same circles after they get out. But then if you're hanging out with the same people that you were getting in trouble with to begin with, the chance of you relapsing is pretty good.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And that's where you're like, no, we're a family, and now you have purpose, and now we have things. And now that we have been saved and we are on the right path, let's help others find that too.
So we have an amazing church. It's not just a home. We have an amazing church, an amazing young adult and student ministry.
If you're just coming to celebrate God and you're like, I've never had a drink in my life, or no biggie.
Yeah.
If you just want to come and celebrate God, guess what? That's what we're doing too. So come on down and have fun with us and do that.
But if you know someone struggling with addiction, maybe Phil can give some information on how they could get in touch with the Victory Home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if someone is struggling with drugs or alcohol, they're lost out there, man or woman. We do have a men's home here in the city of Roswell. Our phone number is 575-291-4107. We don't currently have a women's home.
They go to Albuquerque, right?
Yeah, you could still give us a call.
Yeah, call will help.
And we can help transfer them to another city where there is a home. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, and the great thing about our men's home is, because I know when I was struggling in the streets with heroin for 15 years, homeless, that people who are strung out on dope or homeless, they don't have money, and rehabs are expensive. And that's one thing I learned. And the great thing about our homes is that they're 100% free homes. We don't charge a penny. You can come in.
Absolutely.
We have clothing, hygiene, food. There's no cost to the man coming into our home or the women coming into our Victory homes.
And if you failed and struggled before, and you're ready to get back on the bicycle, come on out. We're going to help you. It don't matter how many times you failed or how many, I would guess most people that are dealing with addiction probably fail 3 or 4 times before they finally break through and get through that barrier.
Yeah, I'm a 3-time home resident.
Third time was the charm.
Exactly.
Third time was the charm for me.
Well, if it was easy, then addicts would just be getting off of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. If it was easy, then everybody'd be doing it.
That's actually something we say. If it was so easy, everyone would be going to the Victory Home. It's not an easy thing to do to separate yourself. Our homes are 12 months.
Sure.
But it's a time of separation where you can really find God. And it's not just about, to us, I guess, it's about getting off the drugs and the alcohol, but it's more about gaining a relationship with Christ and getting rooted in something. And we firmly believe that every man, woman, young adult, child out there has a calling of a God upon their life. And it's right there in our Victory Homes where we help men and women find that call of God and help them to answer it.
Everybody's life is different because we don't start at the same starting point. Your life experiences and things, so where one's life experiences may lead them one way and another leads someone another way. But by no means does that define who you are or where you're going. And I think that's where you guys remind folks sometimes. And because it's easy to be like, well, that's what I'm destined for, this path there. It's like, no, not. You're your own person. This is God's will. You get to exercise that. Let's see how much better we can make your life through God. And I think that's the light bulb moment you guys see all the time is you probably get folks coming in, some coming in ready for the change, some maybe a little less open-minded to it, and they have to see the light later. But that's what happens is at some point it's like, okay, the light bulb clicks. What am I doing? Why am I keep doing the same thing and expecting a good result? And through reinforcement, through love and support, you guys basically hold their hand while they figure that process out, basically. You know what I mean? That's, in a nutshell, that's kind of what's going on is you're just being that Sherpa to guide them through to say, all right, I've been through this. It's going to be tough. Let's help you navigate through it together. And when you find there's someone there to put an arm around your shoulder when you're going through this, it's certainly a heck of a lot easier to navigate through it than when you're trying to do it on your own. that's to me that's where the real strength is the community.
Absolutely.
Is those days when you don't feel like you're making progress, or the day you hit the wall and you're like, why am I doing this? There's one of your brothers or sisters to say, you're doing it because that's what we need to do.
A word of encouragement can make you or break you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think that's where some of the success lies. Is you guys are great, shepherds, guiding the flock here. But a lot of times the flock's the one that's gotta get the rest of the flock in line sometimes, and that's and how that works is just shared experience and with that builds commonality and builds trust a little bit, and that's and all of that is needed to help get you on that path to God.
It also takes faith. You got to believe, and what the great thing about Victory Outreach is you see it. So if someone says, I don't believe I could change, but look, you see examples of it. You see Brother Phil. You see myself. I was a meth addict, and what happens when they see the change? What little faith they have, it can magnify their faith. Say, if he could do it, then I can do it.
Sure.
If the thousands of people that already changed their lives could do it, maybe there is hope for me.
And too, I also think, what the outside world, your interpretation of what people think of you in the outside world has a big come into play of that, too. When you, because I would imagine when you get at those stages, self-confidence, things like that, where you're like, I don't feel like they're gonna sniff me out kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I think that all goes away with the community side and that outreach, because I think it rebuilds the self-esteem, because I'm guessing a lot of folks, when they're hitting that, they don't have a lot of love for themselves.
Right.
And it's easier to hate themselves than to love themselves at that moment.
Absolutely.
And when you're in that level of hating yourself, it's really hard to even hear other people talk nice about you. And so that constant reminding and showering of love is trying to pick away at that armor a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of that's our own defenses we put up. We put our own walls up to protect ourselves and things. And some of the work you guys have to do is peel that away a little bit too. It's a lot of therapy, and it's a lot of real, just talking, and reaching out. And it's really, using God's plan and path, and but using love, using strength, using guidance, using it by example, doing all those things. It's a cocktail of all of that. And at the end of the day, what you have is a great life. And I know it's hard to see it when you're sitting at the bottom of the hole, but baby steps. You start climbing a little bit. Next thing you know, you're you guys. You're not the ones in the flock. You're the ones guiding the next flock of sheep to the promised land. It's just, to me, it really is, and it's hard to see it when you're younger and everything. But as you get older and you kind of see it all in play, you're like, okay, now it's making sense. I mean, does that make sense to you guys? Or like when you're younger, you're just like, whatever, sure. Right. But now as you're a little more seasoned in life and you've been through experiences and things, you're like, all right, now it's making sense. and I think you guys are probably in that stage of life where you're starting to see some of that. Yeah. You're a little younger than I am, but
well, we got a few gray hairs in the beard. they're coming in.
But and the older you get, the more of those moments happen, and so come celebrate that. Come out, and here's the beauty thing too is, okay, if all, what, I've never had a drink in my life. No, I'm not. That's not. No, okay. Come out anyway. It's really a celebration of God, and we all have struggles. Maybe yours wasn't an addiction, but if we had a perfect life, then why do we need God? Yeah. Just saying, it's covered there. So whatever you're struggling with, whatever, it's life. Come and celebrate life and celebrate God, and together we'll all heal ourselves here and heal each other. So. There is a big event coming up that we want to get on the public's radar. This is a joint event here. If folks are familiar with the gig in Roswell, pretty much every Friday night throughout the summer, they hold church on the courthouse lawn, and it's really come as you are. Come. They usually do hot dogs and food, and it's really an open forum where whatever the Spirit kind of moves the moment there, people come up and give testimonies and things like that. So almost every Friday, but now we're going to put that on a bigger stage here.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So after talking with Jim and the gig, they allowed us to have a takeover night at one of their nights, and so we're partnering with them. They're on Friday night, July 28th.
Okay, here in about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, you're just in a couple of weeks away, and it's we're calling it Roswell Revival, and we're bringing Brian Trejo in and a few other musical artists.
Good deal.
And it's going to be a great time. We're expecting a lot of people.
When you hear all the cool sounds and delicious smells here in a couple Fridays,
so
mosey on that way.
Yeah, there's going to be free food. It's a free event, and so we want to invite the community out. Brian Trejo just dropped his brand new album. It debuted #1 on iTunes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's
so we're catching them with a big hit coming out, which that's gonna make him his time a little bit more precious here. So enjoy it while you got it.
We're lucky we got it when we did. How many know yesterday's price isn't today's price?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like that's like when you go out to the fair and you're like, hey, somebody's. Next thing you know, a year later they're all on the country charts, and he's like, I just paid $15 to get in the fair to watch them. Now it's $80 a ticket. Yeah, and that's the cheap seats.
So we're expecting a great event. It's not just music too. Brian Trejo has an amazing ministry.
Sure.
And what we're saying is bring an unsaved loved one. Bring a friend that's struggling. Bring someone from the neighborhood. He has an amazing ministry. He reaches certain people, he reaches everybody, but those that are lost and bound.
He relates to people.
Yeah, he relates to people on drugs, alcohol, gang,
and he's a pretty good singer, by the way. Well, and that's the great thing about these concerts is because generally the artists themselves share their testimony and not always, but a lot of times they've been through some struggles even you don't realize sometimes and things, and you're because you see them in a different light. You see them in this light where they've succeeded and now they're on a stage and they're performing and people are looking at them like, ooh, that's amazing. And it's like, yeah, but that wasn't always like that. And to get there, this is what it took. And so I think it's an example as much as anything else for people that think, there's no coming back from where I'm at. And they're like, well, yeah, that guy was worse off than you were, and see where they're at, And so come out. And again, it's going to be two Fridays from now, I guess you can say.
July 28th, 7 o'clock, Chavez County Courthouse lawn.
Yeah. Free.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be free.
Come as you are.
Come as you are.
Bring your friends, family. Bring the guy, the neighbor you've been arguing with about the trash cans or whatever. It's like, hey, let's work out our deal. Come on down to this.
If you know young people, or maybe there's a youth group in your church, they know Brian Trejo. They know about him. So make sure let them know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's not kind of like your thing, but it's somebody's thing that you know for sure.
Well, and I think everybody's thing is love.
Absolutely.
God. I mean, just community and just a good time celebrating people, life, and God. And all of us like to have a good time. And this is what this event is. And if some of the good godly advice kind of rubs off on you, then bonus. But come out for a great night of entertainment, celebration, food, joy, and fun. It's going to be the 28th, Friday. Again, on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn, plenty of parking behind the courthouse or in Pioneer Plaza across the street, and then you can walk on over.
Yeah.
Usually it's, while you're, get you there a little early, you can walk around and shop downtown or hang around afterwards and do that, support some of the Main Street businesses, and then just come and see this great concert and great message.
Yeah.
That the testimony and everything else. And plus, too, like you said, with the gig and stuff, there'll be a bunch of that. I imagine there'll be some local artists that kind of fill in the time in between.
Yeah, we do have a full lineup, and there's a few local artists that are getting involved.
You don't realize how great a art/music scene Roswell has. It's pretty for a town this size and everything.
Right.
We have quite a big, and it's all genres: Christian, country, rock, rap. I mean, we got a little smattering of everything. It's kind of impressive to see that much talent in a town of 50,000, basically. Small town, big time talent in a small town here. But come out and be a part of this stuff. It's really good. And now, as far as the actual church itself and things, you don't have to wait till the 28th to get out and get involved. You can come out this weekend. Right. Talk about service times and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we have Sunday mornings at 11:30. right there. We're right behind Champion Motorsports.
Yes, West 4th there.
Yeah, we share a building with the Westminster Presbyterian. We rent a space from them.
Another great church and great people over there.
I'm actually speaking at their church this Sunday as well. So if maybe that's more your speed, then that's 9:30 for their service, and then our service will be at 11:30.
All celebrating God. You walk into the building, you'll be all right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No matter what room you end up in.
One more thing about the Roswell Revival hip hop concert. I just wanted to mention we still are looking for sponsors. We did get a major sponsor. Shout out to Roger over there at Vistascapes. And so we did get one sponsor. But if you'd like to get involved, please contact us. We're still looking for additional sponsors to help us with the cost of the event.
Absolutely. And big thank you to Vistascapes for sponsoring and keep and if, like I said, if there's other organizations or businesses that'd like to support this, just reach out to Pat here or go to the website there. If you just type Victory Outreach Roswell, Google it, it'll pop right up.
Yeah, you can hit us on our Facebook.
There's a Facebook too, just Victory Outreach Roswell, maybe an NM. I don't know what Georgia's outreach is like, but just to make sure you get our New Mexico.
Yeah. you can also call the church at 575-363-6008.
Very good.
Also.
And I would even, if you're someone struggling, call the number. Come by. Let them, if you're ready to even if you're, just looking for someone to talk to for a minute or something like that, that's, that's the church is here for that too. If you're struggling, if you're ready to break away from all of that, or if you're dealing with life and you're kind of not knowing what to do, call the number. Come by the church. Let's talk. Let's sit. Let's just figure it out. You know what I mean? That's the first step. And then certainly the 28th here, come out, bring your dancing shoes, bring your eating shoes, bring your celebration shoes, and come have a great night of celebrating God. And it's a lot of fun. Every time they go out there, I mean, it's a party. They got it's a revival. It really is. It's just people that are happy celebrating God, and that's all it is. It's just a celebration of people. So come be a part of it here, not this Friday, but the 28th here in a couple
July
of weeks.
28th, yeah. 7 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And then come out for services each Sunday. And again, if you're struggling, if it's addiction, great. You're welcome, but that's not a prerequisite. If you just believe in God and want to celebrate God, you're invited. You're welcome. And who knows, maybe you're someone that because as you get older in life and you get farther away from your younger days and things, you almost sometimes think, well, that was another life ago. Maybe in your younger days you were stepping off the path a time or two there, and you're like, I'm good now, but I would love to come to this church and kind of share my experiences and hopefully maybe help others that are dealing with those kinds of things that I was going through. That thank God I didn't fall down the worst path that happens to a lot of people in those situations. But be the example too. Use that's the thing. As we get older and that's kind of, I think God puts that mission in our heart a little bit. When the older you get and everything else is, you got to pass that wisdom down on to the next generations and stuff. That's, I think as you get older, that's kind of where I think your role is in life. And they may not always want to hear it, but you know what I mean? That's serving in that mentor role. So if you'd like to come to church and, just come to hear the word, but then, it's like when I was your age, I did some of those things too. And wouldn't it be that sounding board for folks? I think that would be a lovely thing. So good deal. Is there anything we missed? Anything that I got sidetracked on, or anything that we just didn't get a chance to talk about?
We talked about the Victory Home, and we talked about our Roswell Revival on July 28th. I think that's our big focus right now.
And like I said, the Victory Home, like I said, for men, you're going to be right here in Roswell. Ladies, please reach out, but we're going to take you to the home in
and then
Albuquerque.
Also, if you want to get out of Roswell, we'll help you with that also.
That's another thing, too, because a lot of times you got to separate from the family and from the environment. Yeah.
We'll get you to Albuquerque.
So maybe a Victory Home in another location.
Pueblo or wherever, for sure.
And I imagine you see it all the time. You probably get folks that come from other parts of the state. They come here.
Right now we have, in our Victory Home, we have guys from Clovis, from Deming, A wide variety.
Just curious, do you guys serve in the home too, or are you guys mostly just at the church, or do you kind of?
Phil's our home director, so
okay.
he lives there at the home.
Okay, so you that's your day job is to be at the home and oversee the needs of the home.
My day job, my night job.
Yeah, your lifetime job. Yeah. It's like that's my life. Yeah, pretty much. Good deal. Excellent. I sleep with a lot of different people, so it gets kind of loud at night. But in all fairness, you probably see them at their worst and at their best. You know, because you catch them coming in, and first thing you're like is like, hey, I'm Philip Wood. Yeah. I've been where you've been. Let's talk. You know what I mean?
So I always tell people it's the real blessing of my responsibility, because I know what it feels like to have God restore my family, bring my children back, to be restored to health, and to see God work in other men's lives. And see God move in their lives and their families' lives. It's one of the greatest blessings you could ever see.
And cemented probably your own faith.
Yeah.
There's no greater reward than seeing someone turn their lives around, Mike.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Imagine it's the same feeling teachers get when they have kids that kind of for the first time get the concept. They're, like younger elementary age teachers when they learn like the alphabet or they learn to read the first time, they have that moment where it all starts clicking. I would imagine that's kind of that same feeling. It's like, they were ready to call it quits a week ago, and now we're at a place where they're on the path to being loving life again.
I don't take credit for it, obviously, but I like to think of it as I have a front row seat to watching the miracle working God we serve on a daily basis, because it's not me doing it. It's God moving in their life. It's these guys saying yes. It's these men and women saying yes, and to be able to be in the front row. It's like being in the front row of your favorite sports team, but
sure.
It's my favorite sports team. It's God. He's moving in these men's lives, and it's a very powerful thing to witness.
I would imagine. And the more you see it, the more it cements your own faith every time you do it. So come be a part of it. Come submit your faith. Come reach out. Come to church on Sunday. Come see what it's all about. It's going to be a great time. Come as you are. That's the thing too. People. I don't know if there's still the mindset. It's like, which church? Put on your church clothes. I'm an older set, so I still have that brain in my head. But please, that's not how it is. If t-shirt, jeans, whatever you come clothed.
You don't have to get right to go to church. Yeah. Go to church to get right.
Exactly. So don't get dressed up. Don't get fancy. Come as you are. And come celebrate God with us, and hopefully by the end of that service, you're ready to sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk a little bit. So reach out, and then don't forget July 28th, Chaves County Courthouse lawn was about 6 o'clock or so. Everything getting underway.
Well, the actual stage stuff starts at 7, but we'll be there setting up.
Yeah, that'll be about 5:36. People start gathering, and you might hear some pre festivities and things. So get you a good spot for the show and all
get
that.
there early.
Yeah, because courthouse lawn is big, but it only it's only got so many feet of grass there for you to enjoy.
You might be watching from across the street.
It could be over by the Pioneer Plaza statue there. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad seat. It'd be a good spot there. Get some good camera shots. Hey, the people over there take some good pics. But anyway, and give out the phone number and everything one more time for folks who have any questions.
Well, it's 575-363-6008. If you'd like if you have any questions, or if you'd like to sponsor, we're still looking for a couple of sponsors. Yeah, please reach out to us.
That's a big. We'll get your signage everywhere.
We kind of took a step out in faith, and we know God's going to meet the needs of the event. So
so call the church if you'd like to sponsor, if you want to get involved or help out or do anything, and you're like, hey, I just heard about the event on the radio this morning. I would love to. What can I do to help make it better?
And we'll give you shouts out from the stage and acknowledge you and let people know that the businesses in Roswell care about the city.
Absolutely,
for sure.
We give you a little shine and support local and especially the local that supports the community. And
absolutely.
So good deal. Well, thank you guys. Stay cool. I know that's a little easier said than done right now. How's the AC in the home right now?
The AC is working great.
All right, good. Good, because sometimes you get a little worried. You're like, it's not the time for it to go out. Good. Good. We'll call that a blessing. Very good. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good weekend. It is 7:50. You don't realize how much you need something until you realize it ain't working. Oh boy. It is 7:50. Let's pause for local news. Wall Street Business Update. Quick break as well. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin in Roswell today, along with local, state, and federal agencies. Roswell Air Center will conduct a security exercise on Wednesday next week. The purpose of the exercise is to refine security procedures and protocols. There will be first responder vehicle movement and operational response actions within the training area. For safety and training purposes, people are asked to exercise caution when entering areas with increased activity around the Air Center terminal. The exercise has been coordinated through the Roswell-Chavez County Office of Emergency Management. New Mexico revoking the license of a marijuana retailer in Albuquerque for selling out-of-state cannabis in violation of state law. That's according to a ruling from the State Cannabis Control Division. On Thursday, regulators alleged that the Paradise Exotics Distro cannabis store on the Central Shopping Thoroughfare sold cannabis products imported from California and even marked with a California stamp of origin. Representatives for the business did not immediately return phone calls or social media requests. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Suddenly, everybody is asking for a tip. First came the built-in tips at restaurants, then self-checkouts, stadiums, dog groomers, coffee shops, usually when paying with a bank card. Even my plumber tried to stick me with a 20% tip. Fed up yet? I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. It's called Tips Gone Wild. A Reddit user posted about a restaurant bill. It was $137. But attached to it was an additional 10% fee, almost $14, to pay for the restaurant staff's health insurance. Don't be intimidated or embarrassed. These fees are getting ridiculous, and you're not required by law to pay them, even though they may appear to be part of the bill. Now, if you really want a tip, you'll usually be presented with 3 options. If the service was exceptional, select the middle one. It's normally the right choice. And be on the lookout for unusual surcharges. And get tech smarts with my daily newsletter. It's free at getkim.com. We've all picked up the call and heard. We're calling to let you know that your car's warranty expired. For those who don't know, these calls are often used to steal your personal information. And sorry to burst your bubble, but that includes the ones saying you've been selected as a winner of a free cruise. So how do you stop them? With RoboKiller, of course. RoboKiller harnesses the power of artificial intelligence to block up to 99% of unwanted calls, including robocalls and scammers. Did you know that the average phone scam victim loses $1,500? This is serious business, and with RoboKiller, spammers can't just change their number to reach you. RoboKiller examines the audio of each call to identify threats, and with customized call blocking, you only get the calls you want. See why millions rely on RoboKiller. Download the app from the iOS or Google App Store and get 20% off with promo code KIM20. That's code KIM20 for 20% off at RoboKiller. Download the app on the iOS or Google App Store today.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Mostly sunny and the heat continues today. Our afternoon highs between 105 and 108. We do have a slim chance of an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but not much rain with any of those. Cloudy overnight, mid-70s. We're in the low 100s and sunny again on Saturday. Maybe a shower or two on Saturday night and then sunny and about 100 for Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. U.S. stocks extended recent gains to end higher on Thursday, with the Nasdaq rising more than 1% for the second straight day, as data showed the annual increase in U.S. producer inflation was the smallest in nearly 3 years. The data provided more evidence that inflation pressures were subsiding. A threatened U.S. strike at United Parcel Service could be one of the costliest in at least a century, topping $7 billion for a 10-day work stoppage. That's according to a think tank specializing in the economic impact of labor actions. Dock workers at ports along Canada's Pacific coast and their employers accepted a tentative wage deal on Thursday, ending a 13-day strike that disrupted trade at the country's busiest ports. PepsiCo on Thursday raised its annual revenue and profit forecast for the second time this year after the snacks and beverage giant beat quarterly estimates on price hikes and resilient demand. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Summer's coming, and you're going to want to hit the road for a little well-deserved vacation time. At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details, 2nd and Sycamore, and 1309 Southeast Main.
We've all been around people that talk a lot, but don't really say anything. Maybe they're trying to impress, or maybe they think they're funny or entertaining. We've also been around people who don't say a lot, but when they do speak, it's worth listening. In the opening of 1 Corinthians 13, there is a discussion on ones who say a lot but don't have love. They're compared to beating on a gong. I can't think of too many things more annoying than beating on a gong. The whole paragraph is all about words and actions that try to bring glory to themselves instead of giving and showing love to others. Those kinds of words and actions aren't just a waste of time and energy, they have the opposite effect of what love is. They push people away instead of bringing them closer. The goal is to bring glory to the person instead of glory to God. True love is shown by putting others first, and in that bringing glory to God and not ourselves. This is a message for our community, our country, and our world, which they desperately need.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Hey, Mark.
Morning, Sam.
Having the house remodeled?
Nah, I got termites, and they're chewing the place up.
Welcome to the neighborhood. I've got them too.
Really?
Yeah, just had a termite treatment put in.
You did? I didn't see a lot of digging around your house.
That's because I went with the Centricon termite colony elimination system. It's a lot easier to install than what you're doing. They just place bait stations around the house, and then the termites share the bait with each other until the colony is gone. No digging, no chemical solution, just simple protection that's environmentally responsible.
Wow.
Yeah, I even got a green chemistry award from the EPA.
Centricon, huh? I'll be right back.
Hey, where you going?
Tell these guys to stop digging. I'm getting Centricon.
Call Bob Reed Pest Control today for all of Southeast New Mexico. 575-623-5344.
The Rehabilitation Center at Artesia General Hospital offers a variety of services led by experienced licensed therapists, including physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Their multidisciplinary team provides a complete evaluation with the full support of your primary care provider to develop a custom plan to support your personal goals and recovery needs. These treatment plans help manage symptoms, educate patients and their families, and ultimately get back to the activities that bring you joy. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/rehab.
When you or a loved one need medical transport, cost and ability to pay shouldn't get in the way. That's why Trans-Aero Medevac, through the generous support of the Written in Red Foundation and PY Foundation, provide air ambulance memberships to the residents of Eddy County at no out-of-pocket cost. As an Eddy County resident, as long as you're flown by Trans-Aero Medevac, Trans-Aero will accept your insurance or third-party payment with no additional out-of-pocket expense to you. Best of all, as a resident of Eddy County, you're automatically enrolled, free of charge. Because when minutes matter, financial burden should be the last thing on anyone's mind. You have a choice. Be sure to request Trans-Aero, a streamlined, personal, patient, and family-friendly air ambulance service. For more information, visit transaeromedevac.org. Trans-Aero Medevac. They really are wings for life.
If you plug your nose, you can't tell the difference between an apple, potato, and an onion. Unless you open your eyes. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on 8 o'clock. Town Hall News coming up in just a few seconds. Stay tuned. Next hour, we are scheduled to have Sheriff Mike Harrington join us. We'll see if he... Oh, but like I said, I usually get a text back, and I didn't this time, so I'm not sure if he'll be here or not. But if not, we'll have a backup plan. But you're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico. We will be back on the other side of news. Do not go away, please.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. No fingerprints or DNA turning up on that bag of cocaine found in the White House last week, despite a sophisticated FBI crime lab analysis and surveillance footage. But Secret Service says it's a done deal. It is over. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy not happy.
How can in the White House, 24/7 security, they find cocaine, but now they just close the investigation? Where in the country does it get treated like this? Only with Biden's in charge. There is no equal justice.
Federal Trade Commission launching a probe into ChatGPT creator OpenAI and whether the artificial intelligence company violated consumer protection laws by scraping public data. Also at townhall.com, Tennessee GOP Senator Bill Hagerty praising a recent court ruling that limits the White House contact with social media platforms. Here's Bob Agnew.
Senator Hagerty says the founders knew protecting free speech from government control
would protect the people's right to govern themselves by preventing government from controlling information and ideas.
Hagerty's proposed a bill to help protect against government interference with social media.
The Disclosed Government Censorship Act would require that government officials publicly disclose communications with big tech regarding actions to restrict speech.
After all, Hagerty says,
Americans deserve to know when their government is covertly trying to accomplish what the First Amendment prohibits.
Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
J.P. Morgan Chase says its second quarter profits rose 67% as the nation's largest bank made more loans to customers and took advantage of much higher interest rates. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
One of Vietnam's largest online news outlets has suspended publication for 90 days following a government investigation.
Visitors to the Zing News website were greeted with a statement announcing the 3-month suspension. The outlet said it would focus on correcting its shortcomings. It appears Zing News has fallen foul of ever-tightening controls on the media, and news in particular, by Vietnam's communist authorities. It's licensed as a digital magazine, but also covers daily and breaking news. The website of the state-run newspaper, Deutsche, was given a similar ban 5 years ago after the government said it had posted false information.
BBC correspondent Viv Marsh reporting 3 people have been wounded in a stabbing at a church-run center that houses aid organizations in the Dutch city of Leiden. Police are hunting for a male suspect. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com. Interesting new study on language. The word unalive to refer to death by suicide has been coined by social media users as a way to fool algorithms on sites and apps. Dr. Stephen Adelsheim is a professor of psychiatry at Stanford University.
What are some of the motivations for young people who really want to have conversations related to suicide, and that they're willing to sort of find, other language to use to not be blocked from having those conversations?
Wall Street continuing on its winning way so far this morning. The Dow Industrial's up 175 points. S&P 500 is ahead 13, and the NASDAQ climbing now to nearly 100 ahead. More on these stories at townhall.com.
wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Is that a big red Powerade you have right there?
It's a Fruit Punch Powerade Zero. The Powerade that I lost 2 days ago.
Is that the replenished?
No, I went ahead and just brought another one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you got a retro Powerade.
Trying to stay hydrated, man. Keep them electrolytes up, you know.
Well, happy Friday.
Yes, to it.
McDonald's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a Facebook post.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh yeah, we got to try that when we get to McDonald's.
Right.
This is going to be fun.
Uh-huh.
So,
just sit there.
Yeah, sit there. That'd be good. We can cut into 3, Roy, if you like.
We're gonna.
If you like. If not, we'll cut into 2. But anyway, I was thumbing through the Facebook, and I got handed a post that said, at the end of this year, the last day of this year of 2023, the date 12/31/23, 123/123.
Oh, snap. Huh. It's a little numerology fun for you.
There you go. So be on the lookout for the World is Coming to an End on 123/123.
123.
Memes coming soon to your theater near you. So
you know what's going to happen. See, this is my Broadway set coming out. What's going to happen is somebody's going to show up and say, "Shall we dance?" 123/123.
We'll call it the Year of the Waltz.
The Year of the King and I.
But what it was a Big Bang Theory where they get in a cab and they're telling the cab driver, who is foreigner. Mm-hmm. I don't recall the nationality off the top of my head, but they said, "Hey, we want to go to a place where you can do a waltz." And I'm like, "Waltz? What's a waltz?" You know, the dance, dun dun dun, 1 2 3 1. And so the guy's talking in his foreign language on the thing. He's like, "Hey, what?" And he's like, "What? Waltz?" And he's like, "Oh, waltz." Then you go, but it was funny just to hear that whole. But when you said the 1 2 3, it reminded me of that. So happy Friday.
Yes.
Well, so here's the thing. Thank God it's Friday. You hear that saying all the time. I'm going to add another reason. McDonald's. This could possibly. I'm not going to lie. When he said this existed, I'm like, this might change. Like I'm all in on the blueberry cream pie.
I was going to say that's your new 1 seed.
That is my 1 seed of pies at McDonald's. But Roy brought in a pie today that might supplant it. I don't know yet. It is a cookies and cream pie,
which I had no idea. I mean, I'm in the know on McDonald's, lore. Yes. I had no idea this was a thing.
So think McDonald's pie meets Oreo. And this is what we got.
Which,
of course, we're not allowed to say Oreo because it's not Oreo. It's cookies and cream.
That's right.
But you know what I mean.
But I
wink, nod,
I do believe that the cookies they use in the McFlurries is Oreo.
Okay.
I believe.
But anyway, it's so I'm not sure. And he said that like the outer part of the pie is like the outer part of an Oreo cookie.
Oh.
I'm looking at it.
Just smell of that.
Oh heck yeah! This is my new 1 seed. I didn't even fit into it yet.
Smell alone. You want to take a?
It kind of has a brownie smell to it.
It smells. Yeah, it's got a real Oreo.
Oh,
smells
dude.
good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and it's like glazed. Like okay.
This thing's gonna be a 10.
All right,
I could tell
Mickey D's,
already.
Come on now.
Hold it up to the camera just so they can get an eyeball on that. That is the cookies and cream pie from Oreo. Oh, I am tearing that bad boy up.
It doesn't look so good on camera.
I'm telling you, it looks delightful to me, y'all. Well, I'm not on the camera. I'm looking at it for reals, but I can already tell you, I'm going to love this pie. It's not even a question of. I smelled it. So
But you have an in piece. I'll give you this in piece here because I feel like that's where the good stuff is.
I will.
I'll enjoy this creamy middle right here.
So the innards is actually the Oreo cream, and then the out part is your cookie.
Well, there's cookie bits inside too.
There is little flakes and bits of cookie in there as well.
So let's give it a shot.
It smells like a brownie that just came out of the oven.
It does. It has a batter smell to it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. McDonald's, come on.
It's tasty.
This is all genuine.
Yep. I love it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, there it is. I wasn't getting a lot of chocolate till the back end. Now I'm getting the chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Wow.
See y'all Monday. We're gonna do the show, y'all.
That's as
talk
good as
amongst
it gets right
yourself.
there.
We just sit here and eat this cookies and cream pie from McDonald's all day. Oh man!
So get you one of those. That's ridiculous.
Is this a limited time jobber?
I hope not.
I don't know.
Be smart, McDonald's.
Imagine it is, but if there is a God, put this on the menu
Go
permanently.
full time with this bad boy. That's insane.
Man,
Well,
That might be the best thing I've ever had at McDonald's.
God gave you that, so.
Trying to think here.
Savor it.
Trying to think if that's a true statement for me, and it might be.
You know what it was? They said, "Hey, morning." They said we're going to make you suffer through the grimace. It's Charles. Charles.
Oh, cool.
We're going to make you suffer through the grimace so that you can get to heaven on the other side.
Yeah, the grimace shake.
That was insane.
Not my thing.
It wasn't bad. No, none of us died, so there's that.
It had a strike against it for me day one with the because it's berry, and I'm not into shakes that have berry in it.
You know what it reminded me of a lot? If you go to Sam's Club and get the mixed berry sundae, very similar to that flavor.
Okay. Yeah, not my shake.
That pie.
Oh yeah, I'd eat that all day.
That's insane. Now take that. Okay, it's already amazing. You don't need to do anything to it. Add a little of the McDonald's soft serve on top.
I was gonna say a la mode with that bad boy would be a 10 with a little hot fudge.
I felt Mike's excitement exude from him just now. It was like a wave. I was like, whoa. That really moved the needle.
Somebody's gonna make his own sundaes with McDonald's cookies and cream pie this weekend. That's what's going.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I help you? 55 pies.
All you Texans about to be happy. Bluebell and that pie.
Oh my God. Oh, with the flex, the natural vanilla. Wow.
Yeah, it's like an occasional thing, like an ice cream cake.
Yeah. You know what? They should make a cake out of that.
Huh.
Well, they probably have. There's like.
No, just like that. Like you cut into it and it's that goo in the middle. And
But it's cake size.
Yes. Yes.
It'd be more of like a giant pie. Because if you want that crust consistency, it wouldn't be cake necessarily. It would be pie.
But I'm totally doing that a la mode thing this weekend. I'm doing the a la mode this weekend.
Right.
That's a 10.
You remember those make your own cakes commercials where you could actually like Betty Stalkers or what?
Crocker?
Betty Crocker.
Betty Stalker. That's the first.
Yep.
Betty Stalker.
The Betty Crocker make your own cake deal.
Yeah,
where you could have made your own like cookies and cream cake with that.
Here's the thing. I like
Here's Kenny Kidnapper.
They came out with the build your own cake kits, but isn't a cake mix a build your own cake kit? If you really think you get,
if you buy the Pillsbury cake mix.
Cake mix and a thin frosting. You just bought yourself a cake kit.
It kind of is.
Well, these were like pans that were shaped in cake shaped, and you would fill it with filling,
like an easy bake oven.
And you would
that's what it sounds like.
And it made a mold of a cake.
Sounds gimmicky.
You could put stuff in, and then you just close the
You're
cake.
talking about those the Betty Crocker fill pans, right? Where you make the cakes with the insides.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Those things are real. My family had a set of those. We used them exactly one time.
I remember those commercials when I was a kid.
What he's talking about is there was a line of pans that like they come out with. One has a filling dip to where you bake the cake and it leaves it with an imprint where you can put stuff inside of it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a molten cake.
I gotcha. So you make like a big jelly donut cake or something.
That was the Betty Stalker cake mold set. That's fantastic.
I'm never going to call it Betty Crocker ever again. It's Betty Stalker.
She's all at the end of the hour like, hey, you look at a cake mix? Right there. By that one.
I've had a chicken and dumplings crock pot recipe that's been following me for a month.
Seriously, I made a cake 6 months ago. She knows where my children go to school. She follows, she haunts my dreams.
This could be right there with the Marie Calendar Pie thing on Facebook there.
She just doxed me. My address, my phone, my social security number is on the internet now. Thanks, Betty Stalker. Pillsbury never did any of this.
I didn't know that spoon had a tracker on it. That's good. Anyway,
McDonald's.
All of that was big thank you to McDonald's.
And scene.
And try the new cookies and cream pie. 2 thumbs up. Only reason I'm not giving it anymore is because I don't have any more thumbs.
I'm out of thumbs.
That's the only reason there's not more thumbs there.
Yeah,
it is delicious. It is very, very good.
That's something.
Charles Eastless, undersheriff, is here. I think by himself.
I wasn't sure if the sheriff was here, but
and sorry, we ate the pie. Of course, those guys have been getting all in shape and stuff, so they probably won't partake. But that pie is a 10. So Charles Eastless is going to join us here in just a few. Before we do that, though, let's get the bad news over with and just do the weather. Here it is.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Mostly sunny and the heat continues today. Our afternoon highs between 105 and 108. We do have a slim chance of an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but not much rain with any of those. Cloudy overnight, mid-70s. We're in the low 100s and sunny again on Saturday. Maybe a shower or two on Saturday night and then sunny and about 100 for Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. And currently, 78 already. That's not too bad. It was already in the 80s this time yesterday, so call that a victory. Humidity's at 56%. Winds currently out of the east at 6 miles per hour. Just in case you need a reminder, heat advisory will kick in at noon today, remaining in effect through 8 p.m. this evening. There is a chance, 20% chance for some showers this afternoon, partly cloudy. 106 for the high with east winds 5 to 15. Cloudy tonight, overnight low of 76 degrees with southwest winds 10 to 15. Saturday, sunny, hot 102, a little bit cooler. Winds out of the north 10 to 15 miles per hour. Sunday, more the same. Sunny, 102, east winds 10 to 15, and then it cranks right back up again next week. 107 on Monday, 109 on Tuesday, 109 on Wednesday, 106 on Thursday. So just the 102s enjoy Saturday and Sunday. That's our cold front. It is 19 minutes after 8. We're going to take a 2.5-minute commercial break. And then Undersheriff Charles Issa is going to join us here in just a few. Don't go away.
Get your summer grilling on with delicious homegrown beef from Runyon Cattle Beef. Get top choice grade A meat in whole, halves, or quarters delivered to your home freezer and experience the difference between store-bought and 100% locally grown Runyon Cattle Beef. Need seasoning? No problem. Runyon Cattle Beef's very own red meat seasoning and cactus salt are included with all beef orders. For pricing, orders, or more information, call Lisa Runyon at 575-760-5655 today.
Pressure Services, LLC in Artesia has an immediate opening for a supervisor of operations. Candidate must have knowledge and experience in multiple oil field services. Bilingual not required, but preferred. Pressure Services also need vacuum truck operators. Positions require a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Pressure Services offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution toward health benefits. Please apply in person at 402 West Main in Artesia, inside the Ed Safety Facility. Equal opportunity.
Your destination for health is closer than you think. You don't have to drive hours for personalized care. You can get high-quality health care right here, close to home, at Artesia General Hospital. From hip, knee, and shoulder replacements to sports injuries, general surgery, pain management, and wound care, our providers will help you get back to doing the things you love right here in Southeast New Mexico. Artesia General Hospital is here for you when you need us. To learn more about some of our key service lines, visit artesiageneral.com/closer.
Country Pride Countywide. The 87th Annual Lee County Fair and PRCA Rodeo is August 4th through August 12th in Lovington, New Mexico. Enjoy the Arts and Crafts Showcase, the Carnival, and the concerts. Wade Bowen for King and Country, Los Rileros del Norte, the Frontmen featuring Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, and Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Tracy Lawrence, and Alabama. But wait, there's more. An Extreme Bulls event, Pioneer Iron Chef Contest, livestock shows, and the Junior Livestock Sale, Mutton Bustin' Fiddlers Contest, the Yucca Building exhibits, and some of the best fair food ever. For concert schedules and more info, visit leecountyfair.net. Country Pride Countywide, the 87th Annual Lee County Fair and PRCA Rodeo, August 4th through August 12th in Lovington, New Mexico.
You can't hunt camels in Arizona, but you can buy them. They go for about $10 a pack. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, first glad to see him back in the saddle again, Under Sheriff Charles Eastlis back with us of the Chaps County Sheriff's Department. Good morning, Charles. How you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Good. Glad to see you back on the beat. And,
I am happy to be back
in the saddle again.
I am happy to be back. That was one of the longest months of my life.
Of course, he had some medical issues, and that's what he had. For those that probably follow on Facebook and all that, probably very familiar with your medical issues over the last month or so here. But good news is you're doing good and going through. And I'll let you explain whatever you want to explain on it. That's your business, not mine to be tearing out there.
It doesn't bother me one bit. I had cancer. They found cancer in my thyroid.
Okay.
It runs in my family.
Okay.
So I get that checked every year. Well, I don't know that I get it checked, but the doctor makes me get it checked.
Sure, you get the reminder that it's time for you to get your thyroid checked. Yeah.
And I usually and my doc knows that I usually just take that notice and toss it in the back seat, and then when I'm cleaning out my truck, I remember it and I go get it done, and that's really what happened. But this time they did find some nodules and things, and it was malignant papillary carcinoma.
Okay.
They said it's one of the most common, but also one of the fastest growing. So it had grown quite a bit in the time that.
But was it still relatively early in there, or was it more advanced? Good.
I was lucky that it was right between 1 and 2, right between those.
Yeah,
those
anytime
stages.
You're in those numbers, you've got a really good fighting chance.
Yeah.
When it gets to 3 and 4, that's when the numbers get a little dicey on percentages and things.
Exactly, and And I tell people, the hardest thing about that was that month of being off, because in your mind you're 100%, and I'll be honest with you, I got myself in trouble because the next day I went to Harbor Freight. I had to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The doc had me in there. I was out of there by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it was outpatient. They only took out half my thyroid, the part with the cancer on it.
Right.
It was it hadn't been encapsulated yet, but it hadn't spread, so that's good.
So does that mean do you have to do chemo and all that?
I do not have to do chemo. Okay. They are looking at radiation in that particular area just to make sure that anything around that area
last minute little microbes could reattach on or grow again or something. Yeah.
Right. But it was funny because when people say, hey, what were your symptoms? It's especially I'll be 50 this year. So, it's as we get older, it's a worrisome thing, and among other things. And they said, well, what are your symptoms? And I said, you're looking at the symptoms. Yeah. I said, I gained like 60 pounds in a year and a half.
And the thyroid really
quick,
impacts that weight stuff. You generally, people with slower thyroids do have weight issues.
Sure.
And things. Yeah.
And so since the surgery, I'm down 13 pounds, and so I'm one of those big guys that gets to say, I had a thyroid condition, okay? But
you only do it when you're eating, if you're sitting there eating that.
A Big Mac, right?
Yeah, that 3/4 pound hamburger.
It's like big slice of cake.
It's glands.
Yeah. You don't understand. It's a thyroid issue. It's not the cake, right? Exactly. But I'm happy to be back.
Good.
And
we are too.
And God gave me, He gave me a second chance, and I greatly appreciate it. And
well, you're not. You don't seem to be a guy that just idly sits around. Like when you have idle time, you're doing something with it. Whether it's fiddling with a car or working on something or doing your job.
Right.
You're doing something, and to be told no, you can do none of those things for the next month.
I got in more trouble that month than anything
really because
else.
you're like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm tired of seeing the same 6 shows over and over again. Whatever it is, you're just
right.
You're going to get stir crazy a lot quicker than someone that doesn't mind sitting around and not and being idle for a little bit.
Well, it's you're absolutely right, and my mind just never shuts off.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have the TV on to go to sleep, and then even at that, I sleep sporadically a couple hours here and there and everything. And I had the surgery at 6 a.m. I was back home by 1, so it was outpatient that day because they only took out half.
Gotcha.
And however, my thoughts are they didn't do surgery on my legs. I didn't feel bad. I've never needed any kind of pain medication when it came to those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
I have the sensory things on the pain.
You just have high tolerance.
Exactly. And so in my mind, I'm fine. So the next day I go to Harbor Freight and I have this, and I have this big scar here and it's glued.
Do they have
and everything.
it bandaged up and everything?
No, they glued it. And he said, make sure to, keep it clean and everything. And so, but here I am, I'm at Harbor Freight and they're like, what are you doing? What are
why are you here?
Yeah. Why are you even, why are you, what are you doing? And I said, well, I can walk. I can swipe my debit card just fine. I know
still
what I need.
This stuff.
And it was the last day of the sale.
Right? I can't come back here when I'm done.
I'm not going to let that.
Not for these prices? Are you going to lock in these prices
right,
for me?
Right. So I said, okay. So I bed rest for a couple of days. That lasted a couple of days. And there again, I had to get out. I had to, try and do some things. And that's the hardest thing about the realization is, yes, it's real. Yes, it does take time to heal, and you have to give it that time.
Sure.
And when someone tells you, my daughter's getting married in November, and so there was some worry with where it was located. It was right around my carotid artery, and I was thinking, well, I think I want to wait because if something were to happen, I want to be.
You want to make sure you're there for the wedding. Yeah.
But when someone tells you, well, if you're going to wait, you may want to start getting your affairs in order and things like that. It's an eye-opening experience.
Well, when you hear the word cancer, there's no
the big C is what they call it.
And when that word comes in, there's at that point, most people say, no, there's no delaying anything. We got to act now because we all know anytime you're dealing with that cancer word, it's going to be worse the longer you wait. It just and it can go from a treatable thing to a death sentence in very quickly.
Absolutely. And I've had cancer runs in my family. I've had other family members who have passed away from cancer, and so I feel very fortunate that God
to be honest,
gave me that second chance.
You probably had you not known about the family history and had the screenings done, you probably would have gone a lot longer before. You probably would have started seeing symptoms.
I probably wouldn't have gone that long.
Well, you probably would have started seeing
but you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
more distressing symptoms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is I didn't really see anything other than the weight gain and the fatigue. I was fatigued.
And those you could chalk up with a million things.
Sure.
It's like I'm working a lot or I've been eating bad lately.
Well, we were checking for diabetes. We were checking for all these things. And I at one time was pre-type 2, but I no longer am. And that didn't come back and everything came back good. And when I went and had the ultrasound done, that's when they found those. And I've got a great doc. He's on top of things, and he he doesn't fiddle around. He says, I'm sending you straight over. We're giving you a referral. That doctor, Dr. Winter, he does a great job as well. And Dr. Martinez is my primary. But they didn't play around with it, and that's one thing that I'm like any other person. I'll get to it when I get to it, not realizing it's got to be done.
Well, and imagine as a sheriff's deputy, just one of the traits of generally sheriff's deputies, you do for others before you take care of yourself. It's just and you're like your kids, your spouse, you're like, no, you're getting it, you're doing it right now. But then for yourself, it's like, now. I will do it when I make sure everyone else is good to go. And that's just the mindset. You probably do it every day as a deputy, or undersheriff, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm trying to,
I'm still a deputy. It's titles are titles, but at the end of the day, we are all still deputies. We all still do the same thing. A title doesn't define you, and a title, as you go up in rank, that's just more responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not.
Sometimes you get a little more money.
Sometimes you don't make as much. You go away from that hourly wage where
the money and responsibility don't always rise equally. That's just life.
That's right. Yeah. And you find that now you're getting paid for 40 and you're working about 60, and you're saying, something doesn't seem right about this. I thought this was a promotion, but how?
Don't feel like it.
I don't get this.
I'm more aggravated. I'm working longer, but there's a few more dollars in my paycheck.
But I love this job, and I'm coming up on my 26th year. Nice. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I never wanted to do anything else. All the way back to the Ponch and John, the Chips era, and the SWAT and everything, which by the way is on. One of the I have the one of the
streaming services.
One of the streaming services.
Did you catch all the chips up
on? I found chips, and so I called my mom. It was almost 11 o'clock at night, and she thinks something's wrong because it's 11 o'clock. And she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Nothing, Mom." I said, "Guess what?" She said, "What?" I said, "Listen." And so I turn up the intro to it, and I hold the phone, and she goes, "What is that?" And I said, "It's chips." And she goes, "Oh Lord," because that's all. When I would get out of school, I would run home.
You and I are about the same age, and I remember as a kid loving chips. That was one of their big shows at that time, and at the time, my parents we lived in an apartment in Maryland, and we had like because TV was furniture back then, it was big. But they had one that was 20-inch or whatever, but it's a big hulking 700-pound box. Yes. But at the end of the day, the screen's only about 20 inches.
Yeah, with a pair of pliers attached to it, right?
But theirs was a black and white floor model.
Oh, wow.
Like they didn't have a nice color one yet, and this was probably late 70s. So not everybody had a color TV then yet. If you were
not everybody had a TV.
Yeah, if you were poor and broke, you had a black and white or no TV. So,
right.
Or you had the big broke console with a 13-inch sitting on top of that.
Of it, that was the stand.
Yeah, exactly.
The TV that didn't work, that was given to you all, didn't work.
Yeah.
That was your TV stand.
But so for those, so my first early Chips memories are seeing it in black and white, and then later at a more modern TV, I was like, oh, it's in color.
and I remember Gilligan's Island in black and white.
Absolutely.
I mean, all these different things.
Superman, I watched the old like, was it 40s or whatever?
Never even knew his suit was red and blue. Right?
Yeah, that was the Superman I watched as a kid. And granted, that was old even for when I was a kid, but that's at 3 o'clock. That's what was on TV.
That's right. Yeah.
On your
and
3
that's when we got out of school.
Yeah,
it was that, and go home, get your chores done, and watch TV.
Yeah, exactly. And you only had 3 or 4 channels then,
right.
So that was what you got. So,
but I'm happy to be back.
We're glad you're back, and we're glad to see you're doing well and just moving on here. And I imagine next time you get that notice in the mail to get that thing, you're not going to throw it in the back seat.
I'll tell you what, I would suggest that to anybody.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have to learn to practice what I preach on when I tell my grandson or somebody, make sure that you don't get cavities and don't do this, don't do that. Make sure you go to the dentist and everything. Well,
do as I say and do as I do, kind of thing.
Exactly. But Papa, your tooth is broke. What?
Don't worry about my tooth.
Exactly.
It's your tooth.
Right.
My tooth's old. I don't need it very much longer. You need yours for a long time.
Exactly. But the one of the things about this job is nothing changed over those 30 days. I'll be honest. I kind of snuck into work here and there, and I'd close my door and
I would imagine
be on the computer getting things done that need time constraints.
Your brain was picked. just for information and things because, you know, you're there.
Phone
and
never stopped ringing.
Exactly. I was about to say, just because you were at home doesn't mean you weren't answering questions or giving guidance to somebody on a case or something like that. So.
You know, the first night when I actually had the surgery was the night that we ended up taking possession of the jail.
Oh, that night. That was a busy night.
I kind of played assistant dispatcher for my administration, for my admin staff, my lieutenants.
Mm-hmm.
They would call me and we were coordinating everything, and there I was. I had a notepad and everything, and you know, people are saying, "What are you doing?" You know, and even now, when they find out that I was doing that, they said, "What were you thinking?" I said, "Well, I was bored. I don't see it as
well. And let's face it, that's a unique thing that was going on at the time. Right. It's not every day that the sheriff's department says we're going to take over the jail.
Right.
You know, that's kind of a big deal.
It is. And you know, and part of that too is that I had never been through anything that traumatic or that serious, and it's not a sense of denial. Mm-hmm. It's just. You if you don't feel the symptoms, you're so in tune to doing things.
And you have a law enforcement brain. Your brain is not to sit and watch it happen. It's like, okay, what can I do to help and get things back under control? Yeah. That's just natural instinct for you.
Well, I told them, drive me out there and put me in the parking lot. No.
Just set me somewhere.
You know?
And to be honest, it's your boss and friend's job to wrangle you in. And that's, you keep doing your thing. So everyone sounds like you were doing what you do because that's what you do. And,
but they did a wonderful
job.
job.
And the people said, no, Charles, we want you to keep doing this for years. Get your butt at home.
And there's sometimes when you have to give it up for 30 days to enjoy another, hopefully, several years.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
And guys, and I get, because I share many of the way you and I think sometimes are alike, and so I completely understand your thought process because in some circles, I'm the very exact same way. Do as I say, not as I do, and do I'm so much like that, and so I completely understand your perspective, but I also understand the other people's shutting you down because I've been on the other side of that. We're like, no, dummy, get down and.
I have to, and that goes back to the practice what you preach.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and what do they say? When one finger's pointing, three fingers are pointing back.
Yeah,
so it's
a hard lesson to learn sometimes. It just is.
It is, but I'm happy to say that we're getting to the point where we're almost fully staffed.
Awesome.
We have I believe it's 4 positions left.
I'm sure
now.
Other deputies are very thankful that more joining the team here. Yeah.
And my hat's off to them. And I just want to let the community know that these guys and gals are working their tails off, and they are, they're working extremely long and hard hours.
Yeah.
To ensure that the coverage is there, and it's, it takes a toll on the family life. It takes a toll on physically.
Yeah, police officer's not an easy job. It's arguably one of the hardest ones on the.
It's a 24/7 job, and even when you're off and you go to eat with your family or you go to do something, you're always in that cop mode.
Absolutely, if something's going down, it doesn't matter whether it's your 8-hour shift or not. Your brain says, "I need to stop whatever's going on there, or get involved."
Well, if you do something, you're always going to get that. Why did you do something? You were off. If you don't do something, you're going to get that. You should have done something.
Right.
You're a cop all the time.
You have the training. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And so you can't shut your brain off.
It's
it's very hard to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But these guys and gals have been working their tails off, and I want to give them all the props in the world because without the meat and potatoes of the department, which is your deputies, your detectives, we as supervisors, we keep everybody in lanes. But they're the ones that are going 100 miles an hour down that lane, and there are times when you have to reel them in, and there's times when you do have to push them. But the reality is they all jump in that lane on their own.
Absolutely.
But
sometimes you're in that lane and you get blinders, and that's why you guys have to come in and say, "All right, we need to get you recentered, refocused." You're kind of going down the rabbit hole here because. And that's just the nature of the job, because I imagine a lot of what it takes to be a good police officer is also some of that stuff where you're like a hound dog with a scent. You know what I mean? And once you're on the scent, ain't no one distracting you from being off the scent.
You get that. You're locked in.
And so, and so sometimes you're like, all right, I know you're on the scent here, but let's put you on another scent real quick.
Right. And with this job, it's one of the things that I ask the applicants when they come in and they're going through their interview, or we contact them. When I have the opportunity to talk to them, sometimes it's out when one of my lieutenants is doing the testing, or when we're doing the interviews, I tell them, "Are you a people person?" And if they say, "No, I really don't like people or anything," well, this is a people person job.
That's all you're doing is dealing with people.
And I'm not trying to compare them to me or tell them they have to be. I love people.
Sure.
I love people. I enjoy being out visiting. I enjoy talking, giving talks, doing things. And I don't expect them to do that, but I want them to be able to communicate with the public.
Sure.
I want them to be approachable by the public.
Well, a lot of times you're the referee, you're the arbitrator,
Sure.
you're the calm head in the room, and if you don't have the ability to stay calm when people are yelling at you, you're not going to do well in law enforcement. It's
You're 100%
just,
right.
And
And
we've 101.
And every agency has that guy that you say, "Oh, please don't let him respond because it's gonna go through the roof."
Yeah.
And then you sometimes have the other end of the spectrum where they're just lackadaisical.
Yeah.
So you mold them and you get them to where they need to be and everything. And
You want them just right. You don't want them one way and the other, completely just
head on a
non-caring.
swivel. Don't let it go all the way around and fall off.
But then again, just ignorant of the situation. Like, all right, then. Good. Okay, that's bad. I'll see you later.
Exactly. So we're very proud of the fact that people are still applying.
Sure.
This is a job that not everybody wants to do, especially in today's day and age. It's a very demanding job, and honestly, it doesn't pay what it's worth.
But I think also too, the other side of it is once you're in and do it, it's one of the most rewarding jobs.
It's very addicting.
Exactly, because
It is.
for every bad thing you see, there's 100 good things that an officer experiences every day.
Absolutely.
That doesn't get put on a TikTok video.
Right.
And that's why these men and women come back every day to do the job.
Well, the reality is the only person that can dictate what type of day you have is you.
Yeah.
And if you inadvertently cut somebody off in traffic in the morning and get the bird or whatever the case may be, you can let that ruin your day. Or if you're a significant other and you have a little spat, you can let that ruin your day, or you can let it go and you can continue the day. I have a little, when I do a talk for the Youth Challenge, I have a little thing that I do that I tell everybody, God gives us whatever amount you want to call it, but I say 20 pounds a day. And that's your stress, your life, your job, your home life. That's life. And you have to decide at the end of the day how much of that you need to actually carry over to the next day and what you need to let go, because tomorrow's going to bring its own 20 pounds. And we're going up this hill of life. And if you continue to hold that in, 10 or 20 becomes 40, 40 becomes 60,
next thing you know,
and pretty soon you're bogged down.
Yeah.
And that's called stress.
Yeah.
And you can no longer move forward, and then that's called the breakdown. So you have to find that happy medium where you say, okay, I'm going to let this go. It's something that I can't control. It's something that you have to, what I tell people is you have to realize and learn that you are the CEO of your life. It doesn't matter what everyone thinks. You're not going to make everybody happy. You can do everything you can try and do to make everyone happy. It's just not going to work. But if you just be yourself, you're going to be able to at least communicate with those people.
Absolutely.
and find that happy medium.
And remind yourself, the reason why it is because at the end of the day, and I know I get in trouble for saying that a lot, you're the one who's going to reap the benefit or consequence of the decision.
That's right.
Therefore, it's you. So, everyone's telling you to do it, but if it's what you feel right doing and doing the right thing, you're the one that's either going to get the rewards for that or accept the consequences
The spoils,
for that.
exactly.
And so that's why you have to, like what Charles is saying, you have to be cognizant of that and understand that. And unfortunately, sometimes that's a lesson you don't learn until you're already buried in 20 pounds or 50, 100 pounds of that burden.
Stress.
Yeah, that you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where most of us learn the lesson. It's the hardest way to learn that lesson. It's so much easier if you could take the advice of Charles when he says it.
If I could take that, if I could do it as well. There's a lot of things I carry over that I could probably let go. But
unfortunately, Charles and me and many other people learn that lesson doing exactly what we said not to do.
I get a call first thing this morning, and it's, "Hey, Undersheriff, I know you got a lot going on, and I know you're already stressed. I don't mean to throw this on you on top of that, but
here I'm going to.
Exactly. And so it's like, okay, well, but it's one of those things where Can it be dealt with later? Sure. Can it is it pertinent now? No.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on from that. Let's take care of what we need to take care of, and then we'll come back around to it.
Sure.
And there's some things that you have to take care of then.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the whole cancer thing. That's something that I have no control over. It's and the church, the elders of the church, they before I went in, they called me up, had me come by the church, after church and everything, and they prayed for me and everything.
That was nice.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I asked them, I said, pray for the surgeon. And I said, God has me, and I have full faith in everything's going to be okay,
sure,
or it's going to be whatever God's will is.
Yeah, pray for wisdom, pray for steady hand, and
pray for him to be able to have, not to have that moment of what was I doing?
Yeah. Of course, I was watching some news thing about I guess up in Albuquerque, they got the Loveless there had got some kind of new laser surgery machine.
Isn't that amazing?
And so they were kind of letting the public see it and all that. And I think, next time, as we get a little older, hopefully you and I will make it to that point.
We may never see a doctor.
Yeah, it literally, you walk in and they put you under this robot thing with a bunch of little hands or whatever those things are, and and it's all done by like computers and robots and lasers.
Where we're at now.
It is. It's crazy.
When we hear our parents or when we used to listen to our grandparents, and back in the early 1900s, longevity was 40 years. Give or take.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, if you lived to 30 or 35, you were an old man. And now here we are, with the averages of 60 to 80, 85, 90. And the technology is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to have my grandson or somebody set my watch.
Right.
And I had to get a new phone.
I can't do half the things on this stupid thing.
I had to get a new phone. I've been turning it down, my work phone. I've been turning it down because I hate switching over all the information.
I was trying to scan a UPC code with this thing because I'm like, I don't mess with that. And but I had to actually scan it for this thing, and mine wouldn't zoom and everything. And I'm like, so I'm getting all close and like, why are you doing because it's not working.
People look at you like you're having a.
I was looking like an old man, and I'm like trying to work his phone. It's like because it's not working. That's why.
Well, it's kind of like the reading glasses. The days of trying to be cool are over. I tell people, I said, now I need to see what I'm doing versus trying to think I'm looking cool without the reading glasses. You
can look cool. You just got to play it like sophisticated, like it's kind of the smoking jacket with the pipe. You got to be like, oh, let me see here. You got to do it all over the top, For
me, by the time I pull these out, I'm like this. What in the heck is that? I'm already frustrated and
doing this move for 20 minutes. Yeah, I know about that.
Or I try to do the real quick. Let me just look real quick, and see what I can do. But it's amazing where we're at. And when my lieutenant had to do my phone for me, and he plugged one into the other, and he said, I'm just going to transfer everything. I said, yeah. And then he looks at me and he says, do you really want me to transfer these 47,000 messages? And I said, yes. And he said, are you? And so 20 minutes later, but it may be an email that I need. I'm afraid to get rid of any emails.
Well, I would imagine too. In the law enforcement world, everyth's evidence. So you're like, I don't want to lose it.
Yeah. You never know. So it's
by necessity, you're a bit of a pack rat.
I am. Somebody's going to need that sometime in my life, and they're only $1. They're marked down from this. So I'm going to buy them all. Yeah. Something I never will ever use myself.
Right, but you got 60 of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the masks are now 90 cents for 10 of them. Give me 10 packs, but I use them for changing the brakes.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
By the way, too, I know, just from my experience, if you like helping out the deputies and things, dropping off latex gloves and bottles of water and stuff like that or sanitizer, things that they always keep in the patrol cars, because they probably go through couple dozen pairs of gloves a night, depending on how busy the night is, because every time they're on a traffic stop, they're putting gloves on. So you can help out that way by donating. I know a lot of times they'll go to the hospital and pick some up if they can, but it depends on if they've got it. The shift allows them to do that. So just to have a stack of them at the sheriff's department ready when they need them would be very helpful. So keep donating that stuff. It's all good stuff.
Absolutely, and we were very fortunate when on the tail end of COVID and everything started coming back down in price and becoming available again, we stocked up on gloves and all those things that were necessities that we use on a regular basis that we couldn't get during that time. One of the things that I tell people all the time, if you want to donate something or you want to do something for your local sheriff's office, and that item is going to be paid forward, is drop off a case of water.
Okay, water's the big one.
Water's the big one, and it's not just for the deputies, but during the summer, I have the deputies stop out at the bridges and all these other places.
You see homeless
we have
and
a lot of
things,
homeless that have
especially
moved
now
in.
when it's 110 every day. Yeah.
Exactly, and it doesn't take long for dehydration to set in, and these folks are walking around, and I understand that some of them have mental issues, some have mental problems, but something as simple as a bottle of water.
Sure.
And
that's probably the chit or the card that gets them to have the conversation with it. Yeah, exactly.
And so I'll stop and I always carry a couple cases of water in the back of my truck, and I'll stop and I'll take a full case of water and I'll give it to the little camp that was up north. And the reason for that is because it cost me $4, but that's somebody's life. And $4, I probably have that in the couch.
Sure.
At home.
And it's probably saving a life.
And
it's just part of that relationship between law enforcement and the community, and just being that protector.
Well, and what you're doing is you're basically giving yourself a key, and by doing that,
when things go bad,
who's
they
down
trust
there.
you.
And that's a way to say, hey, do you mind if I get your name and I'll be back here in a couple of weeks. I'll drop off some more water.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're tricking them, but at the same time, it's that you're developing those relationships, because these folks are out there seeing these crimes occur at hours of the night when the standard public are asleep.
Yeah.
And so there are times when we need to rely on them and on what they've seen. And if you're approachable and you are able to communicate with not just them, but everybody, but them in particular, you're going to go a lot further. I tell people, we don't solve crimes. The public solves crimes.
You're just piecing the information
That's
together.
Right. We put the puzzle together. They give us the pieces. And without the public, we wouldn't be able to solve these crimes.
Now, don't get me wrong. It takes some brains to put two and two together sometimes, and that's where the real work comes in.
We send them to a lot of training.
But yeah, it's just glomming information. That's really what a detective's doing, is just collecting the information and seeing where the information takes them. It's like science.
Finders of the facts.
A scientist is, they're like, I'm trying to prove this. Well, what they're really doing is they have a thought, but at the end of the day, if the evidence doesn't take them there, then that's not what's going to be proven. It's just where the science goes. It's no different with the evidence. It's, it's where does it take me,
Right.
That's why you see a million documentaries on Netflix about where blood spatter goes here and this and that.
Or
and
when they luminol something.
And they break down every court case like it's
exactly.
the Prudafilm and all that, because that's the stuff they use to determine guilt and innocence. And those details put together paint the picture. And it's pretty fascinating to see. I do want to, because we're running short on time, talking about heat stuff, things you guys are seeing, anything you'd recommend, or any warnings, cautions, anything just in general we want to remind folks about?
One of the things that we have seen is we have seen some fires, and keep in mind that if you're running your air conditioning, especially the swamp coolers, for whatever reason, it seems like those end up getting a short somewhere, somehow, throughout their lifespan. So just pay close attention to that. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. I'm getting ready to take everybody out to the range. We're going to do some qualifications and stuff. And one of the rules that I have is you have to drink the water and you have to stay hydrated, because it'll get you. So
especially in the desert,
with these triple digit, and we're seeing rain and heat. And keep in mind that when the cold air and the hot air mix, that creates hail from rain.
Well, you saw what happened yesterday. We got a little storm there. It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, and it came down pretty fast and pretty hard.
In some areas, did get some hail from what I'm hearing.
Yes, and that's what causes the flooding. But in these triple digit heats, if you don't have to be outside, don't be outside, folks. Especially, and if you have elderly parents, relatives, things like that, friends, check on them.
Yeah,
check on them.
I've been mentioning, and just because of personal experience, if you have family members that take blood pressure meds, not all, but a lot of the blood pressure meds, one of the symptoms is they don't tolerate heat as well.
That's right.
And so especially now that it's 110, they really need to limit their exposure because they're gonna heat stroke out a lot quicker
than the normal
than someone else would that's not on those blood pressure meds. So
that's right.
So keep an eye on those loved ones too. If you're going to be out walking around and stuff,
and the kids,
lots of shade, lots of breaks, lots of water for everyone, but particularly those folks like that.
Absolutely, and the kids as well. Keep in mind, kids, pets. Don't leave them in the car.
That's right.
You know, we just saw it.
We see the videos every year.
It seems to happen every single year.
And to be honest, the dog walking and stuff, I wouldn't even do that during the day because that sidewalk, if you're on pavement, any kind of pavement, it's burning them paws. It's
not
just
only
too
that,
hot.
they're like me. They're covered in hair. Well, not all.
And they
of me,
can't
but,
sweat. They can stick their tongue out. That's all they got.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't realize they can't sweat, and so your dogs will get overheated. Your kids can get overheated. I mean, it's really common sense. And I know that summertime is when we all want to be outside, and I love the heat.
Absolutely,
I'm a triple digit
it's
guy. I love the heat, but I also have found that as I get older,
you don't do so
and
well
I have
in
blood
it.
pressure meds. I go out for a little bit, and then I come in for a little longer. And then I go out, and then sometimes I fall asleep in the recliner, and then go back out. And
sucks getting old, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, it does. All of a sudden, I look up and I say, "Oh, I'm going to go finish that real quick," and it's dark. And I said, "What in the heck happened?"
We human beings can't agree on anything in life, but I think universally we can all agree it sucks getting old.
It does, because especially in this job, I'll tell you real quick. In this job, in here I'm 25.
Right.
In here I'm 25.
Your brain's seen you do these things, and you're like, I still do them.
Yeah. And in my heart I'm 25. My mind I'm 25. My body says, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
And so when the fight starts or when something happens, all of a sudden my mind realizes we need to end this real quick. And I want to take off. And one of my lieutenants learned that the hard way when he pulled a hamstring, and that we're not that young anymore. And these youngsters are flying out, they're running everything. But one thing I can do well is I can say, "Get them."
That's right.
Real well,
Work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
As you get older, it's that.
I realize why they gave us a radio now.
It's that bull joke that they always tell you when you're a kid. I can't say on the radio because it's an adult joke, but all of us know that young bull, old bull joke.
Running down the hill. That's exactly. And they give us a radio for a reason. I found that out. It's not just to listen to. You can actually talk on that thing and tell people, "Go get them."
And use it to, it's like, you're already over there. They're on your way. You stop them. I'm going to wait for him over here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, real quick, I know we're running out of time, but I always like to tell everybody, if you're interested in applying, you can go to Chaves County, the Chaves County website. Please put in your application.
We were talking earlier here.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a hard job, but you know what? If you're looking for a place where you want a sense of belonging,
absolutely,
and you want to know that at the end of the day, you made an impact in someone's life. Almost every day, you can say that as a police officer.
And no 2 days are ever the same.
Exactly,
they're never the same.
So please, and there is an extensive get you ready to be a police officer before you become a police officer.
Takes about a year.
Yeah.
Takes right about
Sheriff's
a year.
Department's really good about getting you ready for when you go to the academy and all that. But by the time you go to the academy, you're probably going to know as much as you need to know to do the basics of law enforcement before they get you into the heavy training. So
we now do a pre-academy, and then they go to the academy, and then when they get out, they go through FTO.
Gotcha.
So they're getting that repetitive
well, that's how
memory.
it does. It sinks in. And military is no different. That's right. There's a reason why they do this. It's because it works, and there's no track record.
Exactly.
But military is the same
do
way.
Do it again. Do it again.
and in the military, and I'm guessing law enforcement is probably very good at this too. They're very good at taking the complicated and breaking it down to the least common denominator.
That's right.
And so you can understand it. So when you've got dummies like me that are 17 and don't know how anything, they say, you know what, you can work on $100 million aircraft with this piece of equipment because we're going to show you step by step.
We're going to show you how.
Yeah, and law enforcement, military,
That's right.
they're excellent at that. So
right.
If you buy in and just take in what's being taught, I
Listen,
guarantee you are going to have all the information,
you're
knowledge,
have a great career.
Be a confident police officer,
Absolutely.
and confident in your skills and abilities and things like that.
Absolutely.
But first step is apply. Come onto the website or come down to the sheriff's office. And
absolutely.
Say,
if you're interested in doing a ride-along, all civilians out there, if you're interested in doing a ride-along, you can come in, fill out the paperwork. We do a quick background and you're welcome to do a ride along. You can do it in the evenings. You
I
can do it
recommend
during the
everyone
day.
that is in should do it. It's a great experience.
I invite anybody that wants to come out and do it because it really shows.
I'd like to do
you a
another
lot
one
of
again
different
here
things.
soon. I need to set that up.
Anytime.
Maybe with a little cooler.
Well, that's why they invented air conditioning in cars too. See?
Definitely want to do night because it's more exciting and it's also cooler. But
absolutely.
But that flak jacket, I don't care how good that thing's gonna be hot at 100 degrees.
It doesn't matter what. Exactly. If you know of a crime that's been committed, or if you have information on anything, we do have some crimes that are some unsolved homicides right now, cold cases,
like you call them, yeah.
And so again, 624-6500. Ask for the Criminal Investigation Division. What you might think
or Crime
is
Stoppers, any of this stuff.
Exactly.
Be anonymous, get rewards, all
Absolutely.
that stuff. Yeah.
And what you may think is just a simple piece of information might be the winning ticket to putting that together.
Absolutely. That's how they solve cases. And,
Right.
and so sometimes that's that one little nugget that tied everything together. It's like, okay, we thought that's what was going on. This confirmed our thought.
Sure.
And that's how the cases are solved. So,
Absolutely.
Charles, welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's great to be back.
Praying for you, continue health, and keeping on with the follow on. And
I have too much energy to sit around.
Because I know once you get once they put it in your system, they're going to be looking for it for the rest of your life very hard.
They do. And I'll have to go to all these tests every year and these different scans and stuff just to make sure that they don't ever find it again, or if they do, where it's at or anything like that. But I'm happy to say that they told me that this one is gone, and
that's awesome.
And I give all that to the Lord, and I'm excited.
And do your checkups, do your pre-screens, do all that. That's what saved Charles' life.
It sucks, but go get it done.
At the end of the day, I think that's what's saving your life now. Is that you went and got that screening done, and because these are
nobody wants to get those things done.
Well, and exactly these are the kind of diseases that only get worse and especially like you said, the thyroid area, those are generally aggressive.
I didn't realize that the thyroid regulated everything in your body.
It's kind of a big deal.
It's a real big deal.
But that's one of those things where in 6 months you could go from perfectly healthy to dead.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't even realize it's happening that quick.
Right.
And that's why the screenings are so important.
Absolutely.
So. But thank you, Charles.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I'll be
stay
back.
Cool, stay dry, stay safe, and we appreciate everything.
I'll probably be bringing a lieutenant with me next time. I'll be here in a couple of weeks. So I'll be bringing a lieutenant with me.
All right.
I'm
the guy that fixed your phone.
I should. If you have any phone issues, I can have him give a demonstration. Absolutely.
I got a couple. I might probably have him work on.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you
we'll
so
see
much.
you next time.
Absolutely.
Anytime. It is 9:02. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell Talk FM KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
2019, according to the court report at the time, Wang Yun fell out with another teacher at the nursery in the central province of Henan. She bought some sodium nitrite and added it to the porridge to be served to her colleagues' pupils. The children began vomiting and fainting. One of them later died of multiple organ failure. State media said the teacher was executed on Thursday. Her case is one of several recent incidents in China in which very young children have been the targets of violent acts.
BBC correspondent Viv Marsh. Suspect in custody on Long Island in New York. That in connection with a long unsolved string of killings known as the Gilgo Beach murders. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. If you were hoping that March Madness every spring might grow,
the NCAA men's basketball tournament is staying at 68 teams for the time being. The Division I committee discussed possible expansion at its meetings this week, but said no moves were imminent to increase the field. NCAA Senior VP of Basketball Dan Gavitt says whether the tournament expands or not remains to be seen. The NCAA Division I Board of Directors recently approved recommendations by the Transformation Committee that included allowing 1/4 of teams to participate in March Madness. That could mean expanding the fields in men's and women's basketball up to 90 teams. I'm Dave Ferry.
Wall Street continuing its upward trend. Right now, the Dow is up 63 points. S&P 500 is ahead 3, and solid gains on the tech side. The NASDAQ right now up 74 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
Good morning. It is 7 minutes. I was flapping my gums. I got to the 7-minute mark of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tracy Murinos.
Sorry, I'm all hopped up on cookies and cream pie.
That's right. Gets inside you.
It's awesome to talk to Charles. I'm glad he's back.
Good to see him back.
Doing well, and when you hear the word cancer, that's no one wants to hear that word, and when you hear it, it's like, uh-oh, how much time I got, Doc? How much? You know what I mean? That's where you start thinking.
That's why I feel bad for people born in July. It's like, what's your sign? I'm a Cancer. Oh,
I'm a bull.
Yeah,
Taurus.
A lion.
Although, for a hot minute, I was an Aries.
Really?
Like,
you're on the
you
cusp?
remember? Do you remember? Like about 5 or 6, 8 years ago, they like realigned the dates.
Did they? I vaguely remember that.
And so, like, I'm April 25th, which is normally a Taurus, but for when they did that realignment, it actually put me as an Aries, I think.
Really? I'm curious now. I vaguely remember hearing that they realigned, but I wonder if I'm still. I mean, I gotta be, because I exude whenever they talk about like the traits or qualities of a Leo.
Yeah,
it's me.
That's my father. He's an August birthday. So
let's see. It's yep. So I'm still good. July 23rd through August 22nd.
Okay, so what's April 25th fall under? Is it
April 25th? Is
they still have it as Taurus, or do they have it as Aries, the Ram?
Let's find out.
I'm either a bull or a ram, I think.
You are a Taurus, so you're a bull.
Good.
Yep, still a bull.
I'm proud of that.
April 20th to May 19th.
Good. So I guess they realigned it back. Because for a minute there, it wasn't. I guess someone said, no, this is dumb. We're not doing this.
We're not going to
be honest,
to your whims.
I'm sure there's some kind of science they're using to base that information on.
Probably.
I have no idea what it is. To me, it just sounds like a random room of 12 people making up stuff.
It always makes me laugh when like you're looking for like star like constellations and stuff, and you're like, that's clearly the Warrior. It's like that's 3 stars over there and one down there, and I'm supposed to make that into a Roman warrior. Like I know your imaginations ran wild back in the day. But
there's only 2 things I could ever spot easily in the stars.
Same. The Dipper.
The Big Dipper and Orion's Belt.
Yep.
Past that, I'm like, I don't know what's out here.
Yep.
I can't find the rest of Orion, just his belt. Apparently Orion's around the rest of the belt there. I just don't know. Right. I don't see it.
I just know those 3 stars and that Dipper. I don't know where the Little Dipper is, but.
And then I'll have a debate on Venus. Like, I'm like, there's the brightest star. No, it looks a little brighter. And then I'm like, either that one's Venus or that one's Venus. So I know what to look for. I just don't know which one's the brighter one. So
the vast reaches of space. It's so funny. I was thinking about it the other day. It's like 2 miles below us, certain death. 2 miles above us, certain death. We are really the creamy middle of existence.
We are the
right here on planet Earth.
Peanut butter or jelly of the universe.
That's right. That's why they're like, you want to go to space? No, I'm good. You want to go to underwater? No, I was born here and I'm going to die here.
If I had a chance, an opportunity to go to space, I totally would.
Really?
Absolutely.
I would go to subspace. I would do the parabolic arc.
Okay.
I would definitely do like the vomit comet just to experience the weightlessness.
See, I wouldn't want to do that. That freaks me out. I'd rather be strapped to a rocket and shot to space than going up and down elevation to achieve no gravity. That sounds nightmare fuel to me.
Every way that I've been shown to get to space is terrifying. Like Branson's is, hey, let's go up in an airplane and we're going to drop your vessel out of our airplane and then you're going to rocket from there.
Yeah.
What if the rocket doesn't work?
Well,
now
then you
you're
glide
hurtling
down
to space.
It's a glider. It glides down.
Yeah, but still, though.
Yeah, it glides to the Earth. You don't need the engine to fly it. You just need it to go up.
I can go to like Virginia or like Utah or like, a place that's here at ground
Well, how
level.
do you think the space shuttle landed? Those engines were useless once it got back in the Earth's atmosphere. It was literally a big head glider that glided down to the Earth.
Right. And my argument is I'm sure it works fine for them. I'll stay down here on terra firma.
Well, you don't have to push buttons. You just sit there in the seat and just enjoy the ride.
I was listening to a show and they were basically talking about wingsuit failures, base jumping failures, and this guy called in. He said he was doing a skydiving thing and he pulled his chute and he heard a pop, and the pop was the crotch strap of his parachute that held him in place. So basically, he was having to guide himself back to Earth, holding the straps under his elbows, like the weight of himself. And he said he got about 20 feet away from Earth, didn't know how close. He knew he was close, but not how close. Dropped and just like a rock, boom, and bounced.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's why I'm gonna stay down here.
I know
that I will bounce. I don't want to bounce.
There's certain things I'll never bungee jump. I'll never jump out of an airplane. That vomit comic sounds. But if I needed to be strapped into a rocket to go to space to experience that, I would totally do that. That one would be worth the juice is worth the squeeze to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me. I don't care about water. I don't diving and all that. Nah, I don't want to go down to the Titanic or none of that nonsense.
Yeah, there's
nothing to do with that. But if someone said, Mike, I'm going to put you on a rocket to go to space, and it's not just some clown shoe with if it's legit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's NASA or something that's established.
Now, that being said,
then I'm in.
I did see a video yesterday that was pretty cool. So there's a guy in, I think it's Nebraska. He bought for $550,000. He bought a decommissioned missile silo.
Okay.
Army Air Corps nuclear missile silo.
An old nuke silo. Yeah.
And renovated it. Basically turned it into an Airbnb style.
Okay.
One bedroom.
I've heard some people do those kind of things with those.
And it's really cool looking place,
silos.
but it's still got the silo. So he ventures back to where the silo is, and it's full of water, like 100 feet at least of water. And he took this remote controlled video camera submersible thing and floated down, obviously where no one would get hurt. But there's some really cool stuff happening. He gets 120 feet down, I think, of just sheer water.
Was there life.
He found they found like a jellyfish.
Okay, so there was some animal life.
Yeah, and then at the very bottom was like refuse from the silo. Like they found PVC pipes and
right, just inertia, minutia of stuff that's there. Yeah,
it was really cool just to kind of like be in the murky depths. But up here, where we're safe, where the pressure's fine. We went to the pool the other day. We were just bobbing around in the 12-foot area in the indoor pool. My son decides to drop his toy monster truck at the 12-foot. I'm like, oh. I got down there to get it. That's 12 feet. I felt like my head was going to explode. That was 12 feet. These people are dealing with atmospheres of pressure.
Well, you're also in water. That's a little like. Have you been in a silo? Like, ever gone into one or been into
like inside of one? No.
Yeah, it's really cool. I got to tour one, and it was.
I've
really
been in
nice.
a grain silo. It's a little different.
No. The missile down underground. You don't feel pressure or anything down there. It wasn't that deep. It was only a couple 100 feet down, and it wasn't like
no, but like underwater though.
Yeah, no. This wasn't underwater.
No, I know you weren't, but I'm saying
no. I would not go into it. No, that would. Like there was the Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates guy. He was actually here in Roswell for the.
Yep.
So, I guess during the summer is when that Expedition Unknown premieres on National Geographic or wherever channel it comes on.
Right.
And so I was seeing commercials for it, and I guess one of them first episodes, he was going to the pyramids in Egypt, and I guess doing like tomb diving. Like I guess there's some places underwater.
Oh wow.
And those pyramids, and you can go. Like diving, like spelunking, like cave diving in there, and he was talking about, and there is no way. I don't mind going into a cave and all that, but I am not putting scuba gear on in a cave underwater.
Right.
That I'm out on.
You're putting way too many of my fears in one basket.
Yeah, that no. But I would get in a rocket to go to space. That one I would do.
I would do it under duress. I don't think I'm going to be doing space tourism anytime soon. But
especially now at the age I am. Like maybe if I was 20, I'm a little bit more preservative. I'm like, well, I'm only 20. I got a whole. But now that I'm 50 and I've seen and done things, and I get a chance to do something I know I'll never have to do again, and more than likely I'll be just fine from it. I'm gonna take that leap. I'm gonna take that.
There's gonna be. I assume there's bound to be a ocean gate. But with one of these space companies, there's bound to be one craft that just goes up and just something happens and just exposes the entire industry.
This is all well and good until something goes wrong, and that's going to happen. I mean, you look at like Apollo and all that program. There was, everyone was all about the moon and all that, and then when Apollo 13 happened, when it was getting then everyone reminded, oh, this is real, and those people almost died. Apollo 1, they did die. That thing blew up on the pad.
Yeah.
They had a lot of near misses there, and then of course space shuttles, we lost a couple of those, and to be honest, we're lucky we didn't have bigger problems during the Apollo and Gemini and Mercury programs. We got off pretty lucky, good. I would say people say be lucky, but I bet the engineers like, ain't luck. That's good. That's how many hours of math I did to break that down. Exactly. That ain't luck. But anyway, this hour we're gonna play our interview we had with Brian Luck, Roswell Independent School District Superintendent. Before we do that, got to thank the fine folks at McDonald's.
Yes. I don't know what they've been doing for the last 60, 70 years. It's all build up to this.
Yes. I don't care what you do the rest of your day today. Some point in your day, go to McDonald's, go through the app, drive in, carry out, however you do McDonald's, go there and get you the cookies and cream pie. It is an 11. Not even a 10. It's an 11.
It is nuts.
It is no nuts, ironically.
No.
But it does.
It's crazy.
It is excellent. Think of this. Take your Oreo cookie. The chocolate part is the pie, the outer flake crust of the pie.
Right.
The creamy innards of an Oreo, pair that, make it warm, and put little tiny pieces of Oreo cookie in it, and put all that together and throw that in your mouth, and this is what you got.
Throw that in your mouth.
It is just delicious.
It really is.
It smells like grandma's brownies. It tastes like heaven.
Yeah, the food engineers over at McDonald's, they knocked one out of the park on this one.
It's a 10. Go get one today. And before you eat your dessert, got to eat your meat. So don't forget to get your. That's what they told my kids. I know that's not true anymore because of food and stuff. But yeah, get whatever you're into, and try that if you want a little zip in your day. Try the new jalapeno and cheese quarter pounder with cheese that's available through the McDonald's app
Delightful.
or dine in, carry out, any of that stuff. So. All right, it is 19 minutes after 9. I need to shut my hole to get the interview in. Let's get you up to date on the weather, and then we're going to jump into our commercial break. And then on the other side, we're going to play our interview with Brian Luck. So next time you hear me, it'll be with the interview. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Mostly sunny, and the heat continues today. Our afternoon highs between 105 and 108. We do have a slim chance of an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but not much rain with any of those. Cloudy overnight, mid-70s. We're in the low 100s, and sunny again on Saturday. Maybe a shower or two on Saturday night, and then sunny and about 100 for Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Oasis Computers has been Roswell's trusted source for home and small business computers for over 30 years, and they continue to be your best resource for computer repairs, operating system upgrades, web root managed antivirus, special orders, and more. Oasis Computers is now open from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday to better serve you. Service calls by appointments and after-hour appointments are available too. Stop by Oasis Computers at 1703 North Garden or call or text 575-625-9141 for even faster service.
Listen, you want a pizza? You can get one of those anywhere. But if you want authentic, traditional, brick oven-style pizza, forget about it. There's only one place in town, our Pizza Center in Roswell. I'm talking about authentic pies using authentic ingredients. Plus, pasta, salads, wings, subs, burgers, and a whole menu chock full of your favorites. You can dine in or have it delivered up to 5 miles. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. at 505 North Main in Roswell. Or check out RoswellPizzaCenter.com. And hey, mention you heard it on the radio and buy one pizza, get one free. Our Pizza Center, a taste of the old world, right here.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
We've all been around people that talk a lot, but don't really say anything. Maybe they're trying to impress, or maybe they think they're funny or entertaining. We've also been around people who don't say a lot, but when they do speak, it's worth listening. In the opening of 1 Corinthians 13, there is a discussion on ones who say a lot but don't have love. They're compared to beating on a gong. I can't think of too many things more annoying than beating on a gong. The whole paragraph is all about words and actions that try to bring glory to themselves instead of giving and showing love to others. Those kinds of words and actions aren't just a waste of time and energy, they have the opposite effect of what love is. They push people away instead of bringing them closer. The goal is to bring glory to the person instead of glory to God. True love is shown by putting others first, and in that, bringing glory to God and not ourselves. This is a message for our community, our country, and our world, which they desperately need.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
The inventor of Pringles is buried in a Pringles can. I wonder if they got their hands stuck putting him in there. Here's Mike Winters.
The summer.
Hot.
Yeah. Now, during the summer, I know like admin, everything, you go to work every day and do your thing. It's not like the teachers. But, I mean, do you get more time off during this time, or is it actually busier now when it's the off season?
You know, it's interesting. It's kind of a little bit of both. You have an opportunity to take some time. You can kind of manufacture your opportunities, but you know, there's always something going on. That's when you end up like a 242 employee, which is what my high school principals, our admin, senior admin, our directors and coordinators are. I mean, that's your opportunity to kind of take a deep breath and focus on some things. But no, we get our spots, and you know, my hope is that everybody gets an opportunity to kind of get a little bit of a recharge, maybe a quick one, but a little bit of a recharge.
Yeah, because everybody needs it. I mean, yeah, even if you're not in the classroom every day, you're still dealing with the problems or the needs of those classrooms.
Yes, sir.
That takes a lot out of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that being said, we are in a time where teachers are now sucking up the last little bits of vacation. And,
okay, you brought that up. I'm not bringing that up.
And I was doing it because she's sitting right there. But and so here in a couple weeks, teachers are going to be. I mean, kids will be back before we know it here in about 3-4 weeks.
Right.
Teachers here in the next week or two will start going back into the classrooms and getting ready for the school year here. So
yes, sir.
It's starting to wrap up. Time is flying by here pretty quick.
Well, and it's funny, I'm in my 50s. I won't go much further than that. And I have always lived my life off of a school schedule. So, either being in school or teaching and, now in administration. So, it's that ebb and flow. And funny thing, the 4th of July. You'd hit the 4th of July and
it's all downhill after that.
Well, you're like, okay, if I haven't done a project here at the house, or the things that I said I wanted to do, if I haven't got them done yet, I better get them done. And it's I've talked to some parents, and it's no different for them. Well, we only have 4 weeks left, so we've got to go do this, and this, and we've got to save some time for this, and we've got our fall sports. They've already got back up in. They're running. I mean, we've had a 7-on-7 tournament last night at the Wool Bowl, and volleyball is up and running.
I'm about to say, it's not always just fall sports, too. I know, like basketball and stuff, they do a summer schedule.
June. The June is set up for basically everybody but football and volleyball. So,
gotcha, okay.
And with the way the NMA has changed some of their stuff, we've still stayed fairly traditional to that.
Okay.
But no, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
And if you're active, or you can pretty much be gone anytime you really want to.
Busy students don't have much of a summer because they're at sport camp or Future Farmers of America or the student council events, whatever. The off season brings. They're usually busy with that, or if they're going to Boy State or Girl State, some of the other outside programs that are popular during the summer.
Well, and, you go to a game and you see, even if it's at the beginning of the season, I dare say a finished product, you're looking out there, that's taken forever. If you've got a senior on whatever soccer, football, volleyball, baseball, track, they've been participating and they've been going for a very long time. So, when the competition ends and you see those kids and they just implode because of the emotions, there's a good reason for that. Because it's been a journey to get them there. So lots of work.
The messed up part is that's the easy time of your life.
Yep.
It only gets harder after you graduate.
Well, and we've had that conversation in a couple locker rooms. We're like, if this is, if this moment right here is the worst moment in your life, I'm going to give you a hug, and you're going to come back and give me a hug one of these days and say thanks, because and that's the intent, is that you're learning from those events, and that you kind of set your highs and your lows of this was a great thing, this was a bad thing, and then you at least get some markers for comparison purposes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of those things. It's part of life, and everyone goes through it in some way, shape, or form. And you hit those milestones, and it's just life, and it goes fast. And next thing you know, we talk about summer and this, and kids, and they're little, and next thing you know, they're graduating from college, and they're getting married and starting their own lives. And I know when you're 17 or 16 or 20 something, you don't think that way because the whole world's ahead of you. But when you hit a certain point, usually in your 30s, when it starts sinking in, then you're like, oh, okay, there's more to it than this, or this is what life's about. And and unfortunately, people like our age, I wish we could instill it in you when you're 16, but we didn't agree with us either when we were your age. And now that it's.
Where would the fun be in that? Where would the fun be in that?
But that being said, and that's the world we live in, and that's how it should be. That's
normal.
That's normal. You're young, you're exploring the world, you're testing the waters, you're seeing what you're into and what you're not into, and you're going to break a few eggs doing that in life. Right. That's what happens. The question is, if you're still doing that and you're 40 and 50 and 60, at that point you're like, no, you should. Your wants and changes are going to be different. Right. You're not going to be so much ready to conquer the world at 50. You're kind of like, I want to smell the roses a little bit, and it's just a natural progression in life. And anyway, it's hard to understand that unless you go through it. And I know as adults we try to tell you and show you, but we get it. You don't want to believe us because it was the same problem. Right. When our parents told us this stuff, we were like you. It's like, whatever, dude, we're going to we're gonna climb the mountain either way.
Our parents become smarter every day that I live.
Exactly. So, the school board did meet. I guess we should probably talk a little bit about.
That.
We can philosophize all here, but we should probably talk some soup and nuts here a little bit. Sure. The board met. They met on the 10th, right?
Mondays.
Monday.
We're now meeting on the second Monday of every month.
Yeah, this is now newly. This was the first month where they moved to the Mondays here, but I guess, and we need to talk. Do we want to keep Wednesdays, or do we want to?
Sure.
Okay. All right. If that needs a change, let me know, and we'll do it.
I think we're good. That gives me a day to recoup and recover, so that I make sure that I'm sharp when I come.
There you go. Or forgets everything, and we just talk about it.
I got it written out. That's why I brought it written out for me.
But I guess you could say off-season meeting for July here. Busy one, or is it kind of just signing off on everything that's been done, kind of thing?
You know, it's interesting. We had a little bit of the business part of it, where we were closing out our fiscal year and taking care of some bars and some bills and stuff like that. We've had some grants that have popped up like really quick. We're kind of getting in a bad pattern for some of our money is coming in, and we get a notice on a Monday or a Tuesday that it's due that Friday.
Oh wow! Is that just the way these grants are?
I think
turning
some
up?
of it is just. I think some of it is just the nature of the beast. I don't. We're extremely honored and privileged to get this, and we want to make sure we do our diligence. It's just it makes it really hard for my 5 elected individuals that their job is to say that's a good thing. We give it our seal of a blessing, and when they don't have that chance, it makes it kind of it takes their job away, and we're trying really hard to make sure that we don't do that.
Sure,
that's
and let's
their
face
job.
it. For folks that aren't familiar, grant writing is a whole unique skill and art in and of itself, and it does take a lot of meticulous work. And so, if you don't have a lot of time to make the decisions whether to do it, but then the physical writing and making sure the grant is, because if one I is not dotted or something's out of place, you're thrown out regardless of the rest of the content of your grant. So you have to be very meticulous about that stuff. So that all takes time. So it kind of, I imagine, it put everybody behind the 8 ball, not just city council that has to ultimately make the decision, but the people that physically have to go through the act of preparing this grant and getting it turned in.
Well, our big one the other night was an attendance grant. Okay. And we were very fortunate to receive the money. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember the dollar amount, but it was substantial. Our team out of instruction, led by Miss Cole, just jumped on it. And so we look, we're in good shape. But like you said, there were very specific things that had to be done to get that to go through. And again, I had a great conversation with the board about, we were talking about our absentee rates at the schools, or flip that, and the attendance rates at the school, and just a really good, I don't want to say again philosophical conversation about the value of being there, and consequences versus punishment. The consequence of not being in school is you fall behind.
Sure.
And trying to stick with let's stay at that stage, and then really work with trying to fix the problems if we can as to why they're gone. And then, the second part to that is if we do move to some type of a punishment, well, we're going to obviously need some help with that.
Sure.
And we don't want to get to that, because it seems fairly, ironic that you're going to punish somebody, like at the high school level, you'd always say, well, you're suspending me because I skipped. And it's like, I understand that, but my ultimate discipline consequence for you is I take this away from you.
Yeah.
And at the house, your mom and your dad, they have an ultimate discipline, the final straw, and then this is what they do. And, we're trying to prevent that. It's shown us over the last few years that it's really easy to kind of slip through the cracks. But, our I don't want to say a rebrand, but our mission, moving forward as in partnership with the city and the businesses, I was coming in and I was going to say, man, these are our workers that are doing this. And I was like, no, that's wrong. These aren't our workers that are doing this. And if you think about that, that's the problem, is these people will not be our workers. They will be the people that don't.
Sure.
They can't be counted on. And I don't want that for our town. I mean, that's one of the other side benefits of school, that you're showing up, being where you're supposed to be. Things may not be going well. I can't guarantee a lot, but I can guarantee you're there.
Yeah.
And then you're learning that soft skill.
Well, and this just kind of proves the point that schools and everyone's been preaching since the dawn of school is that a child's education is more than just the teacher involved. It is the partnership. The parents have to be on the same page with the teachers and the admin and the staff, because the parents don't see everything the child does. The teacher doesn't see everything the child does. But between the cocktail of these people, all of you do. So put your heads together and let's figure out together. And that's where we have to really train everybody. Parents need to understand that, no, you have to be, at the end of the day, and I know I get yelled at a lot for saying at the end of the day, parents, you're the ultimately responsible for what happens to your kids. Your teachers are going to go through the wall to help you do that. But if you're not including them in everything on some of that stuff, you gotta have that partnership there. If there's stuff going on at home, the teachers need to be aware of that so they can act accordingly in school, and vice versa. And that's why that's so important. And I think you're talking about slipping through the cracks and things. That's how we avoid that. Is the teachers and the board and everybody are going to try to put everything in place to be as transparent and to do that as possible. But none of that matters if the parents don't step forward and be a part of the equation. It just will not succeed unless there is a parental or a guardian that's also working with the schools to make sure this child's education is getting taken care of.
And you know what? It's a two-way street. And I say the word trust. There is a huge amount of trust involved that if I open up and work with this teacher, that it's not going to come back to bite me. And as a teacher, there's a huge amount of trust that if you kind of allow the kids in a little bit closer than what you might, and I don't, just as far as building just positive educational relationships, it's tough. And there's, as the longer you go on and it's easy to get burned. It's easy to get jaded both ways, both from the parent side and the teacher side. And
I'm not going to get, and I hope Kim doesn't mind I'm doing this.
She doesn't have anything to throw at us, so we're in good shape right now.
I'm going to be very broad at this, but this past school year, my wife dealt with a student that had some issues. Was a product of parents that deal with drugs and things. So this child was medically having issues and things, and this child was a problem, like interrupting class, hitting, beating. I mean, things that if you were an adult, you'd go to jail for doing it. But the whole school year, the grandmother and my wife and doctors were working, and I will tell you this: that kid that came in day one is not the same kid that when the class school ended, and that success I will attribute almost 100%. I mean, my wife's a good teacher, don't get me wrong, but because she had a relationship with the grandmother and they were working in concert with this child, that's why it was successful. And I hope that kid, because if that kid continues to have that third grade, fourth grade,
right,
he's going to be all right. But that's what it took, and that's what it takes sometimes. And I think parents and teachers, everybody, they need to understand that. And I saw it work myself just through that, and that's how it's got to happen.
Well, and I think one of these days we're going to come in here and not say the word COVID, but I do think what we're starting to see is smaller and smaller, larger scale problems, but we are still going to have components of the out. I mean, I think in general, if students with needs are going to have needs, regardless what time, where you go to school, how it's done, etc. But I do think that it did expose some nerves out that we didn't know were there. And I think as time moves forward, like you said, like with your case, hopefully it can build, and that one of these days that kiddo comes back and hands you a graduation announcement and says, "I owe it to y'all. I owe it to you. You were the turning point." And that's I guess depending on where you teach or what grade level you teach at, it could take anywhere from 10 to 12 years before you have one of those. But as a teacher, I would say the quicker you could get one of those events, boy, it changes everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, when that first kid that invites you and you're like, I said, man, I would have never thought, or gosh, you'd have been the last kid that I would have thought would have brought me in an invitation. It does. It makes all the difference.
Sure. So, you don't realize the impact you have on someone.
Right.
And then years later, you realize, oh wow, I guess I did
right.
sink in there a little bit.
That's right.
And I imagine it's probably the coolest feeling that teachers and folks experience in the planet. So.
It feels good.
Yeah,
feels good.
But anyway, and I know we just got philosophical again, but you were talking about that. I always think that that's where it should be done at school board meetings, because really, obviously you got to get the nuts and bolts and decide on plan A, plan B, or whatever, but that's where the philosophical discussions need to happen. It's like, what are we doing here? What's our goal? What direction are we going? And are we doing things to support that? Or are we doing things to not support that? And you have to get a little philosophical to do that. And so,
this board in particular is really dialed in on resources to the kids.
Yeah.
They want as much of the financial resources to impact directly on the students. And not in a turnaround way. They want as much actual dollars to go where they're supposed to go. If it's a training, they want to see the results. They want the numbers to go with it. So I'm going to give hats off to those 5 individuals. I mean, they've made a commitment that they really want to try to push the focus where it needs to be, which is the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I will say, our school board president's announced that she's done after this term and all that. But you look at the board we have now, and for the most part, that was the COVID board, the board that made the decisions during COVID. I mean, I think there's one or two differences there, but for the most part, same people. And I always tip my hat off to you saw what was going on in school boards during COVID. There was a lot of visceral, there's school boards that aren't school boards anymore because things that went on during COVID. They did an admirable job. All of the circumstances they were presented, and I like you said, tip your hat. Absolutely, right. They were handed a big bag of stink, and they made lemonade out of it as best they could.
True, and I'll jump on there, and I've done this before, and I'll say it again. I mean, I'm gonna hats off to the community as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the town voiced their concerns, but they did not push it past a workable limit. I mean, I still have people that I very much know I know right where they stand. And some I don't talk to quite as much as I used to, and that's okay. But as far as the town goes, I mean, they still provided us the opportunity to do what needed to be done. So, no, and again, that goes back to that, working in cohesive unity. And Roswell's a very good place for that, as far as being able to come in and do what you got to do. And,
it's a small knit community. It's family. I mean, it is. And like family, you love hard, but you fight hard. So
yes, sir.
That's what it is. And so the debates get heated, but the love gets also very strong too. And so that I hope Roswell never loses that image or that
I agree.
That's a good thing. There's a lot of other things we'd like to change, but that part of Roswell, I think, should be part of the fact.
Well, that's your Chamber of Commerce moment right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when they come in and the meetings I've been to with them, that's, they're promoting. And it's so nice because you sit down and you've got all the entities present. You've got industry, you've got education, you've got financial, and for somebody that's lived here my whole life, I don't ever think about some of that. It's like, Mr. Town, it's Roswell.
Yeah.
But whenever, they're talking about prospective employee, businesses or entities coming into town, and they start going through their checklist of different things. It's very nice to have a seat at the table, and it's very nice to feel like that all of the boxes could be checked if somebody just gave us a chance.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a great, and by the way, if you're not familiar, the Chamber of Commerce just started this month. Actually,
I have it on my calendar.
So they've actually got, and I don't have the schedule in my head, so please apologize. But each month there's going to be a meeting with the city, and it could be a representative from the city, the county as well. It could be a county commissioner, it could be a county manager, it could be, and education. Right. So it'll be Brian Luck, it'll be General Grizzle, it'll be Dr. Powell. Right. And they basically get the chance for you to talk about what's going on, but for the public to kind of learn and ask questions too. Right. So if you're kind of wanting to know about the lunch program or whatever, or what's going on at NIMI, General Grizzle or Brian's there to kind of help you, or your representative. It may not be him every month. It may be, but it'll be someone from the district that will be there to address questions or provide information as needed. So that's a new thing. And go to the Chamber's website. When's yours next one?
Oh,
I can't. It's like it's like a third Tuesday and the Wednesday. I can't make. I don't have them all in my head right now.
My
the date.
meeting.
But yours is I feel yours is a Wednesday, if I remember right. Or no, Sheriff's Luncheon's on a Wednesday. I can't remember. There's I got them all.
25th.
The 25th. So
July
that'll
25th.
That'll be. You can RSVP through the chamber, and will it be all three of you at that one, or just you?
I think so.
Or?
I think so. I talked to Dr. Powell yesterday, and I believe because we were talking about just continuing the opportunities here locally, and he brought that up, and I was like, oh no, Miss Moore's got me. I got my invite. So.
But again, that's part of that community outreach and all that stuff. But if you I know, I'm sure if you're sitting here me talking with Brian every month, you're like, man, why did he ask him this? Well, on the 25th, you can ask.
Come on in. I'll do my best.
Good deal. We got a little sidetracked again. Highlights from the meeting on Monday here. So that we want to cover.
The big one for me, we've got a lot of construction that we're working on. We were working on AESC, our central office air conditioning, heating and cooling project that we're doing in the old, what I'm going to call the old wing.
By the way, the hottest time ever to be doing that right now.
Well, those and hats off, Holloway Construction and Rhodes are the two that are working in there right now, and those guys come out of there, and I'm just like, God bless y'all, because it looks a little warm over there right now.
Well, and I've been here 20 plus years. I don't ever remember weeks of 100 plus every day. This is the first time in a long time I remember. I mean, yeah, we get hot, but not 107 for like 3 weeks straight. That's I don't recall ever seeing that.
We've done that. I mean, and it's cyclic. And I mean, if I remember correctly from this year, this was the latest that we hit 100 in the calendar year. And so when I remember watching that news story, and I was just like, well, that just means that we're going to stay there for multiple sets of days in a row. And it, I mean, it is the desert.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hot. And it
just seems extra crispy compared to what we normally deal with.
it does. I want to say last night, 8:30, 9 o'clock, it was still like 88, 90 degrees. And I was like, okay, I can deal with it in the middle of the day, but this is a bit much here.
I moved away from the East Coast to avoid things like this.
But it's a dry heat.
Well, that does make a difference.
And it really does.
If you're in Maryland at 7 o'clock at night in July, it's no sun, but it's muggier and hotter and probably was when the sun was out.
Well, we're, story to that. We are monitoring that. Our people that are outside, we're taking precautions with them. Student athletes, we have a heat index that they've got to maintain.
I'm sure they're very meticulous.
They can't, absolutely.
Probably even move some stuff indoors if they could.
Don't want anybody hurt. Yeah. Don't want especially on that. Other big ones. Speaking of air conditioning, Mountain View Middle School gymnasium had that particular AC unit just never could keep up. So we are in the process of putting new air conditioning on that.
Just need a bigger unit, maybe.
I think so. I think it was just. And again, I don't know, because you're taking me back about probably 20, 25 years, give or take.
Probably do anyway.
Whatever the case was for that, we've got that up and running, ready to get, hopefully for our first day of school on that one. Just some other, little things. The big one that I wanted to focus on is food services.
Yes.
So we provide breakfast and lunch. At multiple locations across the town. In the month of June, the summer meal program gave out 52,268 breakfasts over the course of June.
Good deal.
They gave out 51,907 lunch meals.
And that's just in the RISD.
That is just
the 5 meal sites and the 2 high schools for the
yes,
grilling.
sir.
Yeah.
Carpenter Park, Pocorn Park, the base, the skate park, Missouri Avenue Elementary School in Goddard and Roswell.
Yeah.
And the Goddard and Roswell one is actually kind of funny because they are the only grilling sites.
Yeah, so if you want like a grill, a burger or something like that,
and
the others were like grab and go bags.
Right. And the crazy thing is as you're pulling up, the ladies are kind of trying to get a vibe. And if you've done it multiple times, they know how many you've got. So immediately they're throwing a hamburger on. I mean, they're
reading the room. And
none of that is pre-cooked. And I laughed. I told them, I said, man, you guys are faster than our fast food restaurants here. No offense to the restaurants. And they're like, oh, no, we do our jobs. And so,
well, there is a difference between cooking and being a culinary career. You know what I mean? And and because we all cook, try to, or we all think, but learning to cook for many, many people versus just cooking for your family is not the same thing. That's why you watch all these chef shows and everything, and they're yelling and high paced. And granted, they're not yelling at each other in the school cafeteria like that, but they're still putting out the same volumes, probably bigger volumes of food, and it's generally the same thing. So it's not cooking to order per se.
Right.
I mean, it's a skill set and a work. You just don't show up and do that. It takes a lot of training and skill to do it.
If you figure anywhere from 7,500 to 10,000 meals times 2, because you're going to do breakfast and you're going to do a lunch, out of basically 2 kitchens, that's an undertaking. And so that's when in the winter and we're looking at delays or cancellations, and if you're pushing past 5:30 at 6 o'clock, it's snowing, different things. It's a huge expense to cancel school because they've already started cooking.
So does that food get thrown out, or are they able to do something with it? Or?
We have tried very hard. If it can't be salvaged, then they have to.
But I know if there was something they can hey, can we drop these off at a homeless shelter or something? I don't know.
No, and a lot of it is the way we're reimbursed on our food. There's so many stipulations.
I know everything's earmarked for this,
that's another day, and I don't think we'll get philosophical on that day. But as far as trying to make sure,
but there is consequences for closing school, and this is one of them.
There is, but again, back to those people. I mean, they come in, they work so hard, they do their diligence to get after it. They've just done wonderful, and the people, like you're saying, how hot it was. They have an awning. They have a little tent that they've got set up, and they're out there at these parks.
Hardly, it helps, but hardly
correct. Not like having the AC sitting over there.
Yes.
Another big one from the meeting the other night that we didn't really discuss, but it was in my superintendent's updates. We're going to shift over in our athletic department to an online ticket program.
Okay.
Most everywhere around here, we've held out about as long as we can. There still will be a component for activity tickets, so season passes, etc. But as we're getting into the next, athletic year, we're going to shift over into the online ticket sales.
Okay, and that's for everything.
That'll be for
football
everything.
games, basketball. Sir. If it's a RISD event, you'll have to, I guess, get tickets online in advance.
And we'll have the tutorial set up.
And by all means, we'll through our social media when the time comes, and you're like, we'll share the links to get tickets and all that. So even if you're part of the general public and you love going and watch football on Friday night, but you don't have a kid in school, you can still easily get tickets.
And the best thing still is always going to be the passes. Yeah. And we made sure that whenever we were working with the company that was a key component with it. We wanted to still honor our faithful supporters that would be willing to go. They don't really want to they don't want to mess with a ticket every time they walk up there. They're not against it, but I bought my ticket. I want to just go into the game.
I'm guessing, in theory, that'll make it easier when it does come to playoff time, when the NMAA starts taking over the box receipts and all that. That way, it's probably an easier transition for people to get those tickets because they'll just probably do it through the same way that you've been doing it all summer or all fall there.
It'll be basically the same process.
Yeah. The same way you do it.
Yes,
sir. Because once the playoffs hit, the New Mexico Activity Association, the tickets, it all changes. The rights and everything get really squirrely and weird. And but usually during that time, people have to buy tickets online and through the NMAA, and everyone gets mad because it's not the way they normally do it. So in theory, this might smooth that a little bit.
That's our hope.
Yeah.
What we found is that everywhere we go, it's this.
Yeah.
And not because
it's the way of the future.
Not because everybody else is doing it, are we going to do it? But it's one of those deals that we've held out about as long as we can.
Kind of the cost of doing business now.
It is. Yeah. It is, and it will ultimately. I think once people kind of get used to it, we'll be okay.
It's no different than how you do your own money in life. I mean, how many people? I mean, when I was younger, you always carried cash on you. Nowadays, I'm lucky if I got $1 on me every time it's. You know what I mean? Just how we do everything is different, and this is no different. So.
Well, we were in Omaha at the College World Series not too long ago, and I was amazed. They wouldn't take it. They would not take cash. If you went to the concession stand, it was a card
or phone,
everything. Yeah. I mean, and I was just like, "Whoo, that's scary."
It's the world we live in.
Well, it was very easy to overspend. I mean, I won't even lie about that. one last thing before, because I don't know where we're at on time, but I want to make sure that I get this in. There was a survey that was sent out to some of our special education students' parents.
Okay.
That the state just wants some general information.
Okay.
And so they sent me an update the other day, and we are pretty bad behind on our responses.
Okay.
And I'm laughing because I was like, it was either in a text or in an email or perhaps even a paper copy sent via email or to your snail mail.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed because I was like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to pick up a survey. You know, I get those all the time.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to remind the general public, it was I'm trying to get my data source. Data Driven Enterprises.
Okay.
Is
They're the
group,
ones who put out
is the group that did this.
survey.
So if you are looking through junk mail and you have a student that receives special education services with the district, not every student's parent got one of these. It was just a percentage.
Probably ones that have students in the program already.
Well, but not even all of those got one.
Oh, okay.
So,
if you did get one,
if
please.
you did, take it. And I would say the same thing if they were face to face. Just be truthful.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with what we're doing, tell us.
Well, I think they're
where we need
putting
to
this
get
out
better.
to get right, basically.
Right.
And it's like, are we doing it right? Are we not doing it right? Are we doing it kind of right? Are we doing it kind of wrong? And I think this is it's like voting.
Right.
You want to do something about it, go vote. You want to do something about it, fill out the survey.
Right. Well, and speaking of the voting, we had last night a informational forum with our legal counsel that came down, and actually for people that might be interested in running for the school board.
Declaration's coming up here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And hey, if you think you want to do this, these are some things that you should expect. So what we decided, we had a decent turnout. Could have been better, could have been worse. But if we were to start to see an influx of candidates, or if we were to get more interest in it, that we would do that again. I mean, it was a really good presentation. As far as just, hey, so that you walk into this with your eyes open. But again, we're just trying to make sure that we provide the information and then let people make the decisions for themselves.
Yeah, trying to avoid, we don't want to learn what's in the law until we sign it, law kind of thing. We're trying to avoid that.
Well, and I mean, if you jump on that group, it is a labor of love.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to make sure, and this was
that's a good thing. Yeah.
It actually came from the school board itself. I felt like I knew what I was getting into, but this would be nice. And I, to a person, I don't think any of them would have changed their minds.
Sure.
Which,
but it should be nice to know this stuff going in rather than learn it
Right.
the hard way on the fly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that, absolutely.
Right. So that's another opportunity that, a resource that's available. I do know coming up, August, September, October is the season for presenting district bond resolutions coming up. So
coming soon.
If you are a civic organization or a group, I will be reaching out to you for my 20 minutes of fame. And
so here in a month or two, we'll hear you on the radio talking.
That's
about
right.
it.
That's
Dr.
right.
Powell and General Grizzle. And,
Oh yeah.
And I will tell you, because we're about out of time, but they technically aren't allowed to tell you to vote for it. They can say, well, we get this, and this. If you vote for it, I can vote for it. It's a good thing. If you want to see more resources for your schools, your libraries, your higher learning institutions, this is how it gets done. Just vote yes on it. It's not going to be extra out of your taxes. This is something they have to do every few years to renew the bond. But this is how NMMI is getting those renovations right now that are going on in their dorms. That's how ENMUR is getting some of the renovations going on. Some of the stuff going on in the RSD school district. All of that's from bond.
That's right.
So
very fortunate. We are two away from having the first round completed, and I'm including Nancy Lopez is in the process. Mountain View, Washington Avenue come up next, and then the fun starts. I got two big ones after that. So.
Good deal. And by the way, libraries too. Vote on that one.
Absolutely.
It's like B, C, and each one's different. But we'll learn more about it.
Last plug: if you have a pre-K student and you're looking for a great place to enroll them, we are open and we are enrolling. So
now's the time.
Let's go.
Come by the main office and sign up.
You come by the main office. We will point you in the right direction.
Perfect. Very good. Well, thank you, sir. Stay cool. And we'll see you here next time.
Yes, sir.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin in Roswell today, along with local, state, and federal agencies. Roswell Air Center will conduct a security exercise on Wednesday next week. The purpose of the exercise is to refine security procedures and protocols. There will be first responder vehicle movement and operational response actions within the training area. For safety and training purposes, people are asked to exercise caution when entering areas with increased activity around the Air Center terminal. The exercise has been coordinated through the Roswell-Chavez County Office of Emergency Management. New Mexico revoking the license of a marijuana retailer in Albuquerque for selling out-of-state cannabis in violation of state law. That's according to a ruling from the State Cannabis Control Division. On Thursday, regulators alleged that the Paradise Exotics Distro cannabis store on the Central Shopping Thoroughfare sold cannabis products imported from California and even marked with a California stamp of origin. Representatives for the business did not immediately return phone calls or social media requests. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. We're learning that a suspect is in custody in New York and is